Welcome everybody to Conspiracy University. Appreciate y'all hanging out with us today. We're here every Wednesday, man. Y'all know where it is. We getting busy. So remember, blackisuniform.com, blackistheuniform.com. Today, everybody knows, like if you've been around me, then you know I have a passion for this topic. Like I'm a health nut. Contrary to what y'all be hearing and talk your shit, like I'm serious about understanding health, right? Understanding food, and everything kind of in the medical industry, understanding how the body works. That's my thing, right? And so my entry point into kind of into like the next level of rabbit holes was food. And so when it comes to this topic, like um I'll be kind of digging into it. Like dude, I lost some books. I had some books I was looking for. I don't know what happened. I think somebody threw my freaking books away. That I wanted specifically for this conversation or whatever. But today we're going to talk about food, right? Um, Definitely going to talk about the concept of vegetables, right? We're going to start with the concept of vegetables. Then we'll get into how we got to the place where we are in America as to how we see food and what's coming to us, right? Because we didn't get here by accident. Like where we are in America, the health of the nation, this is not an accidental thing. And I told y'all one of the things that I would consider success is if Robert Kennedy Jr. was able to reverse some of the trends in the food system, and he's doing that. Like I think today I saw that he's banning that shit that they put on Skittles. It's like silver dioxide or some bullshit like that. Um, they've banned a lot of the food dyes. Like he's doing some shit. Even he's talked about one of the things we're gonna talk about today, which is what are you supposed to eat? Like what's a healthy diet for you and shit, right? Um, and so like everybody knows, so even if I don't agree with it 100%, I think the blood type diet has some validity to it, right? I don't think people's bodies are the same. I don't believe in a one diet fits all, right? And because our bodies aren't the same, we don't metabolize things the same. God damn it, we don't process things the same, right? We can't all deal with the same thing. We don't all have the same amount of enzymes. We can't methylate things the same way. Like it's a really, really personal thing. And I think there are a lot of different variables that go into what you should eat, right? So today, what I wanted to do was I wanted to do something that we've done this in the past, and I think it's okay to do it again, right? So we're going to take a look at um, a lot of the foods that we eat and dig into how we got here. All right, we're gonna dig into how we got here, like because it wasn't always this way. The things we eat, even how they're grown, like all this shit wasn't always this way. Like people think it is, but it wasn't always this way. And a lot of the adages that we use or things that we promote in terms of eating and health are not really based on anything scientific. And that's kind of what I want to look at today. All right. So let's do so shout out to it's a YouTube channel called Evil Food Supply. Right. So I'm gonna play some clips. The clips I got came from their YouTube channel. I think they got a lot of different stuff on there. Right. So if you wanna go check it out, like I saw some stuff, and some of the stuff I saw was pretty good. So most of the clips I'm playing come from their channel. All right. So let's go ahead and get started talking about vegetables, right? And we're talking about the food overall, but more specifically now we're going to talk about the vegetables.
In every other culture around the world, raw vegetables were either consumed very sparingly for medicinal purposes or for a bit of flavor. But come on! This is the golden age of America. Let's import every vegetable we can, and let's eat vegetables in every way possible. We have the time, we have the money, so why not? So Americans started to get creative with raw vegetables. There was the aspic salad of the 60s, the spinach souffle of the 70s, the broccoli cheddar salad of the 80s. And slowly but surely, vegetables started taking over the American palate. And because vegetables are pretty much calorie-free, it made the perfect target for the weight loss industry.
All right, so vegetables weren't always a staple of the American diet. All right, vegetables, contrary to what we think, didn't always grace our dinner plates. You know what I'm saying? They became a useful tool. And so this is the thing. When we start looking at this, right? Some people I talk to tend to think in terms of Hanlon's razor. So yeah, everybody knows about Occam's razor, right? All things being equal, the simplest explanation is probably the correct one. But my favorite is Hanlon's razor. Hanlon's razor says, don't attribute to malice what can be explained by stupidity. Okay, and pretty much what that means is don't think people are doing something evil when they could just be stupid, right? And so I'm okay with that, with that thought process. In this regard, I don't think it's the truth, right? I think what's being done to us and our health via the food is intentional, right? So I don't think there's a just kind of a mistake that happened, right? And all of a sudden we became unhealthy and we're eating shit we shouldn't be eating. Like, to me, it seems very, very intentional. All right. And there are numerous places and evidences for the thought process that we're intentionally being made unhealthy. All right. So we'll get into some of them, some of the specific ones. So this is one where I think there's a confluence, right? There's a mixture of intent and ignorance to go along with some of these. And I think the one we're about to listen to right now is one of them, right? So this is about kale, right? And how kale became so popular, what made it popular, and what are some of the problems with it.
Kale. It's crunchy. It's crisp. It kinda tastes like grass clippings. But according to the biggest health experts in America, kale is the superfood.
MVP of greens, it is King Kale.
Because it's one of the most nutritious vegetables.
I knew kale before it was kale.
It's the holy grail of nutrition. But here's what you may not realize. Only 10 years ago, kale was just a sad, wilted mess underneath the Pizza Hut salad bar. So how did this lowly vegetable undergo this incredible transformation? Well, it was all thanks to one woman, Miss Oberon Sinclair. Oberon is the owner of the New York City PR firm My Young Auntie. And Miss Oberon had one simple dream: to get America to eat more kale. Why? Because I've been trying to convert people for years to eat in a healthy way. I've always loved kale. It is an amazing vegetable. And so she used her skills to make kale the hottest thing since avocado toast. She got Beyonce to wear a kale sweatshirt. She convinced New York restaurants to put kale on their menus. She even created a fake Facebook page for the American Kale Association, which isn't even a real association. She literally made it up out of the air. And yet, somehow, it worked.
Kale.
Kale. Kale.
Kale.
Today, you can find kale everywhere. It's being massaged into salad. It's being blended into smoothies. McDonald's even put out a kale breakfast bowl. And that would be fine if kale was actually healthy for you. But the truth is, kale is shockingly bad for you. See, back in the day, farmers tried to feed kale to their sheep, and the results were nothing short of horrifying. Because of the sheep's high kale diet, they ended up giving birth to babies with massive goiters. A goiter is when a sheep has a giant bulge on its throat, like this. But on top of that, a lot of the baby lambs developed major brain abnormalities. Some were even stillborn. And cows that were fed kale in Tasmania, they produced milk that ended up causing thyroid disease in the children who drank it. If you don't know, your thyroid gland is a small, butterfly-shaped gland located below your Adam's apple. Your thyroid gland is responsible for making two main hormones that affect every cell in the body, and they play a key role in how fast your body uses fats and carbohydrates. In other words, your thyroid plays a key role in your metabolism. So you definitely don't want to hurt your thyroid or get a thyroid disease. Thyroid disease can mean your thyroid doesn't produce enough of the thyroid hormones your body needs, or it can produce too much. Or you can also develop a goiter like those sheep. That is what's happening when you eat kale.
All right. And so you got two things. So you got out of nowhere, right? This lady decides to start publicizing and promoting the consumption of kale, like on a mass scale, right? Why? Like it never the whole, oh, well, I just think people should eat kale. That sounds like bullshit, right? That this lady comes all of a sudden she's got money to just start a PR campaign. That sounds like somebody's funding that, right? That sounds like who sent you? You don't just decide, well, I like it, and so I think more people should eat it. And so I just launch a whole campaign and I get Beyonce to wear a kale shirt and I make a kale association website. Nah, I ain't going. And then looking at how bad kale is for you, right? The effects on the body that it has. So you just decided that everybody should eat this thing that has a negative effect on their health, right? It didn't solve no problems. She didn't have no disease that kale cured or no shit like that. And so all of a sudden she just decided to start eating kale and then it took off. And everybody started doing it because, people are fucking sheep. Just like the sheep that was eating that kale and got the goiters and shit.
And what was her name?
Oberyn Sinclair.
Who is she connected with?
I don't know.
That's
All right. So I
that's
know
a
she
good.
was
That's
a PR person.
I would. I
You
mean,
in the
that's a good
matrix, cuz.
question. Though. That's one of them things. Is like, okay, if you just one of them type of PR people that decide that, all right, I think I like kale, so everybody else should eat kale.
All
That's one
right.
of them things. Is you connected with somebody, or you just a dumb motherfucker that's just like, oh, I like kale, I think everybody else should eat kale. So
Mm-hmm.
that's one of those. That's one of those stupidity moves,
So
and
are
I just
you,
happen to be good at marketing and putting this shit out there.
are you opposed to
Right.
like all vegetables or is just like industrial agriculture specifically?
No. So industrial agriculture has its problems, right? But I mean vegetables in general, right? So it's not that let me put what I'm saying is that there isn't a complete understanding about what vegetables are, right? We're
The
told
herbs,
this
right?
um they're herbs, sure. That's just a classification. That doesn't mean anything about if we should eat them. How do we determine if we should eat them or not? There are lots of herbs that shouldn't be eaten. Just because something is a herb doesn't mean it should be eaten.
Or just because it's a herb doesn't mean it shouldn't either, right?
Correct. Right? But the thinking is, well, it's a vegetable. I should go ahead and eat it, like, because it's healthy. And what I'm saying is, just because something is a vegetable doesn't mean it's healthy for you to eat. But
I
that's
definitely
not
agree with that.
Right, but that's not the prevailing thought process. People think that, oh, we can just go to the fucking grocery aisle and you got vegetables and we just eat away. Green leafy vegetables, root vegetables, just get everything. Like, no, right? Vegetables, contrary to what most people think, aren't here for you to eat them all the time, right? So, like herbs, they're meant to be used for specific reasons or for specific things, but just to be eaten all the time, that's not backed up by science.
And that's just for humans, right? Not other species, right?
Right. I'm talking about humans. All right. I'm talking about humans. But shit, in the case of kale, they're feeding the shit to sheep. Sheep are herbivores. This is what they do. And it started fucking up herbivores.
'Cause I know primates are closely related to humans in a sense, and I know they eat
Uh,
primarily vegetables.
Primates eat primarily fruit.
The silverback
Like,
gorilla eats more greens than fruit.
it depending on where it is, right? It'll eat, yeah, depending on where it is, it'll eat a lot of fruit, right?
Okay.
It may eat some herbs, but again, herbs ain't meant to be eaten every day, right? And we ain't no goddamn silverback gorillas.
No, I know we ain't. We
Um,
closely related to them, but
mm, all right. So it's not just kale that's the problem, right? And that's kind of what I was getting at. It's not just kale that's the problem. There's one. It is one of y'all favorite. I know it's my favorite. Like I got one of my favorite vegetables is problematic. One that I eat a lot of, and I have since I was a kid, or I used to eat a lot of, and I have since I was a kid, right?
Body. And here's the thing. The exact same thing happened with celery. Before, celery was consumed here and there, but it wouldn't be until 5 years ago that America would get really hooked on it. And it was all thanks to this guy, Anthony William, a famous psychic.
Many people, shortly after drinking 16 ounces of celery juice on an empty stomach every single day, experience less digestive problems. They get rid of acid reflux. They feel more energy. They feel more clear. Their brain fog dissipates. They feel like they're moving forward, finally out of their illness, finally out of their condition.
But why celery juice? Well, because a voice in his head told him so.
For anybody who doesn't know about me or where I get my information from, comes from a source above, a source that's free from the agenda that men here have on the planet.
The idea that celery juice is healthy did not come from empirical data, but a random voice in his head. And yet, once again, the public ate it up.
So many celebrities have joined this craze.
Yeah.
Sylvester Stallone, I heard, is now a big fan of the celery juice.
Yeah, he's juicing celery juice. Absolutely, he's juicing celery. Yeah,
if that works for him, I mean, come on, it's going to work for everyone. Jenna Dewan, I've been seeing.
Yeah.
She's been posting about you as well as the celery juice. Kim
really,
Kardashian.
Yeah, she's doing it too. She's doing the celery juice every single morning, 16 ounces on an empty stomach.
Wow.
Yeah. Never mind that celery was traditionally considered a medicinal food that's only supposed to be eaten in small amounts. But just like kale, celery is actually not good for you at all. Drinking high amounts of celery like this has been linked to asthma, extreme sun sensitivity, male infertility, miscarriages, and fetal abnormalities. But it's not just kale or celery that's bad for you, it's most vegetables. But why? Why are vegetables so dangerous for us? It seems very counterintuitive, since we've been conditioned our whole lives to believe that green equals healthy. But the simple reality is, plants do not want you to eat them.
That's a very important statement. Plants do not want you to eat them. You know what I mean? And so when I used to eat salads all the time, right? And celery is one of the things I would put in it. I would put all kinds of lettuce and leafy greens and all kinds of bell peppers and all kinds of shit up in it, right? And we eat it, and I used to eat it raw, right? And so we eat these raw vegetables thinking that because it's the propaganda that that's what's healthy, that's what gets your body in the best state of health. You eat that and you're good to go. but that's not scientifically correct, right? So a lot of vegetables have what we call anti-nutrients. Okay, they got so they'll have nutrients, right? They'll have nutrients in them. So people only focus on the nutrients in these vegetables. They'll have nutrients, but they also have anti-nutrients. What's an anti-nutrient? Anti-nutrient is something that prevents you. It can be an amino acid, right? It can be some sort of nutrient in it that stops you from absorbing the nutrient that's in the plant. Okay.
It's like the plant's nutrient protection for their own nutrients.
Right. Yeah. It says anti-nutrients are found in the highest concentration in grains, beans, lentils, nuts, but they can be like in leaves and roots and tubers, right? Even some fruits even have anti-nutrients, right? And so anti-nutrients are things that stop you from getting the nutrients. So spinach may have some iron in it, but if it has an anti-nutrient that binds to the iron and stops you from absorbing it, and so you might as well flush the fucking iron down the toilet, right? So vegetables, they'll have nutrients, but then they'll have anti-nutrients, and people only talk about nutrients. You rarely hear people talk about why you shouldn't eat this vegetable. What is it going to do to you that's bad, right? Never hear that. And so one of the first books I read was a book called Downside of Nutrition by Dr. Nardi. His name is Dr. Maxwell Nardi. And that was the first time I had ever heard of anti-nutrients. So this kind of when I was starting my journey into kind of health, right? Um, that was the first time I had heard about anti-nutrients and how you could eat a food and something in that food would stop you from getting the benefits of the food because the plant doesn't want you to eat it.
Hey, Linnell.
I mean, what up, bro?
Hey, you got a list of all these books that you're referring to?
You know what? I have not made a list, but I can cobble one together though.
And the only reason I'm
If there's
asking
any
is
kind of
like you can
list.
get like so folks can get a background because I know for a lot of folks, you get to this point where it's just like, well, I can't eat this and I shouldn't eat that, and they're telling me not to eat this, and right now you're providing the reason why. But I think for me and other folks that are detail oriented, I would like to know the process that they came up with to determine like, hey, this is the reason why you don't need to eat this. Like we did a study with this, or we did an experiment with that and found this. Like I liked how you had the clip where it talked about the kale and the sheep eating the kale and getting the goiters and stillborn. Um, offspring, and that helps. But I think there's another helpful factor with the book list or the process that they came up with in order to determine why people probably don't need to eat this because somebody's eating it for a reason or something on the planet's eating it for a reason. I'd like to know what that is, but humans aren't supposed to be eating it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I got you. So actually, we're gonna do that. So um, so right now I'm just kind of laying the groundwork for like my thought process. So when I tell people that because people asked me earlier, so what are we talking about tonight? I was like, we're gonna talk about vegetables are a scam. They're like, I ain't going with that. You want some bullshit. And Jamila always say I be taking shit away, right? Like, oh, you ruin everything, right? And so the first thing I wanted to do was lay down the rationale for why I say that vegetables are a scam, right? So it's a bit hyperbolic, but essentially what I'm saying is that there's an incomplete understanding of what vegetables are. And it's not all fucking rainbows and sunshine, which is the picture that's painted for us. So when I go into the grocery store and I don't know if y'all know how Whole Foods is set up, right? But you go into Whole Foods and as soon as you go in, like I'm guided through the vegetable section, vegetables and fruits and grains and nuts and all kinds of shit. And this is supposed to be this is the promised land right here, right? This is how it's set up. Like, hey, yo, this is what you wanted right here. Here goes your vegetables. Right? It's all colorful and laid out nice and pretty. Right? And it's begging you to, oh man, get some of these, get some blues, get some greens, get some reds, some purples. Oh yeah, get some vegetables, get some fruit, like get some of this, get some of that. Right? It's set up right there, and everybody's there. Like people are there diligently, and they getting their vegetables, and they think they're doing something good. Right? Not knowing that the problems that they having could very well come from the shit that they get and that they put in them plastic bags. It's a lot of people who are like they're eating all these different vegetables and stuff because they think that, you know what, I got to get off of, these processed foods over here, which is, I agree, get off the processed foods, right? But I got to get off the processed foods and all I got to do is start eating this and change my diet to all vegetables and problems going away. It's like, nah, you could be trading one problem for another one. Now, you could be trading, a big problem for a small problem, right? But my thing is, let's be more intentional and intelligent about the way that we kind of eat, right? So yeah, but yeah, no, we definitely gonna get into some of the specifics about what's in the vegetables. All right. So here, let's go with the idea of how plants feel about you eating them.
The intention of plants is very clear here. They don't want us to eat the leaves, the stems, the roots, or the seeds. They don't want us to crunch and chew up the seeds because that would subvert the plant's efforts to move those seeds to the next generation.
From a survival perspective, plants don't have much going for them. They're just kind of there, waving in the wind, just waiting to be eaten. So in order to survive, plants have evolved complex defense mechanisms to deter would-be vegetarians. For example, when a caterpillar chews on certain types of leaves, the leaves will actually secrete a toxin, driving the caterpillar away. When we chew a spinach or kale leaf, those same toxins get released. And these toxins are called natural pesticides. You've heard of pesticides. They're the dangerous chemical cocktails that are sprayed on big agriculture to prevent insects from eating the crops. But what you may not know is that plants actually produce natural pesticides. And pretty much every green vegetable contains them. These natural pesticides can cause digestive disorders, headaches, asthma, and a whole list of autoimmune diseases, all in an effort to convince you never to eat this plant again. And yet, thanks to all this conditioning to eat your vegetables...
Eat your vegetables.
Eat your vegetables. Eat your vegetables.
Eat your green vegetables.
One scientist said that humans eat 10,000 times more natural pesticides than they do synthetic.
But you can see here from this paper, table 1 is 49 natural pesticides and metabolites found in cabbage. They mention below this chart in the explanation allyl isothiocyanates induced papillomas of the bladder in male rats. A neoplasm that is unusually rare in control rats was classified by the National Toxicology Program as carcinogenic. Allyl isothiocyanate occurs in cabbage.
But you may be wondering, well, okay, evil food supply, but why are cows able to eat grass then? Well, animals, like cows, sheep, and horses, are 100% herbivores. And it's all thanks to their super long digestive tracts that are able to process fiber into short-chain fatty acids. Humans do not have this long digestive tract. Plant fiber goes right through us and is actually pretty bad for our digestion.
Others of us have to avoid them because they immediately start to cause inflammation in the gut, which can manifest as constipation, diarrhea, bloating, gas.
But it's not just these natural pesticides that are ruining our bodies. Green vegetables like kale, broccoli, cauliflower, and cabbage all contain something called goitrogens. Goitrogens are compounds that interfere with your thyroid gland. They block your thyroid from absorbing iodine, which it needs to build hormones, which means your metabolism is gonna be wrecked. Goitrogens act the same way in the body as cyanide. It's pure poison.
Hold on, Linnell. That was Dr.
Yeah.
Ken Berry, if y'all didn't know the voice. Go ahead.
Yeah. So when he was talking about the goitrogens at the end, so remember we was talking about the kale um, with the sheep. It was the goitrogens that was giving them the goiters and causing the problems, right? So that's one of the anti-nutrients that's in kale that was causing problems for the fucking sheep. All right.
The
Um,
not the voice that was, doing a little talk over it. The other voice that was saying the stuff in the back. That was Dr. Kendi Berry. I'll be telling y'all about.
mhm. So to kind of understand a lot of what's going on, like with vegetables, I think if you watch, what's that, Secret Life of Plants, right, where they talk about um, how plants, like, they communicate with one another, like they, like in nature, they have like trees be having these root systems that are interconnected, right, and when one tree is in distress, right, the other trees can send it like energy to help heal it, right? And so when he talked about how when a plant hears an insect chewing on it, the plant will start producing these chemicals. It's a combination of different salts that act as a poison, right, to kind of kill off the insects. Um, and plants remember, like if you do something to a plant, it remembers, right? So if you have some plants and you come in and you cut down one, the other plants recognize that, and they'll put these leads on the plant to kind of measure the plant's kind of vibration or its energy, and they noticed that when the person that cut down one of the plants walked in, the other plants, they responded. And even with the insects, if you just play, like, they don't have to feel it, if you play the sound of an insect eating a piece of leaf, the plants respond, they start producing poisons. Like, the way that they behave isn't like somebody that doesn't want to live, right?
You
Plants
know,
want
when
to live.
I got like a lime tree, and anytime I trim it back, like if I trim it back too much, it'll produce like this scent, and the scent, it's like my hands will get itchy, and my like eyes and my throat and everything, it'll get itchy. It's weird. It's real subtle. If you don't notice it, you won't ever notice it. But yeah, no, I definitely I think that's a fact. They don't like to get messed
Oh,
with.
my brother. Yeah, buddy. Yeah, buddy. No, they remember. They remember. So they want to live. So to think that, oh, the vegetables are just here for us to eat, and it's all good. No, it's not. Not at all. All right. I wish Paige was here. Paige talks about like if you have digestive issues, one of the hardest things for you to fucking eat is plant fiber. Leafy greens is hard as fuck for your body to digest. That will fuck you up. All right. So that's why when people, like, I hear people talk about, oh, plants, just eat fruits and vegetables, and you'll be all like, no, no, that's
I
not, your
don't know.
body isn't designed to eat leafy greens.
I don't know about that, Linnell, because when I eat leafy greens, my body digests that shit fast as fuck.
So by digested, you mean it just kind of goes through you, or does it can't break it down? The plant fibers are really hard for your body to break down. It may go through you, but it doesn't break it down very good. All right, you don't have the stomach acid to break down leafy greens like that. All right, cows got 4 fucking stomachs. We ain't got that shit. I mean, so it's not like we're not designed for that. Contrary to what popular belief, like what we're told. Like I said, I grew up. My granny's from the South, and so she used to make me eat, vegetables and things of that nature. But they were prepared a certain way, right? But the what's being told now about like eating raw vegetables, there's so many things in raw vegetables that shouldn't be in your body, that a lot of people end up doing damage to their body just randomly eating raw vegetables all the time.
That might explain why we cook the hell out of our greens and green beans, huh?
Exactly.
Cause they eat them al dente. We cook the dog shit out of them and they be fire.
Doing the fuck out that shit.
All right, I'm back. What you say? The raw people be doing themselves an injustice by doing a raw veggie and fruit diet.
Did you hear what I
That's what I'm
said?
asking. What did you say?
You weren't listening?
I just got back.
So how you gonna say half of a sentence that I
That's
said?
why I asked
You
you,
wasn't.
what did you say? I led with, what did you say? And that's the part that
I
I heard.
said
I was
the
just asking.
idea. I said the idea that eating raw vegetables is healthy
First of
eating
all,
raw
look,
vegetables all the time is
change your
healthy.
tone because I feel like the meat inside you
Jesus
is being
Christ.
aggressive. Okay, and I just want to ask for clarity on what you said because I just got
I'm
back.
giving you clarity.
Is
I'm
there
giving
really
Hey,
you
clarity if you just came back? Come on, dog.
bruh.
hey, is there? We're gonna gloss
Mark,
over the meat inside of you.
exactly.
We're
That's
gonna
what I said.
gloss
The
over
me
that.
inside of him is giving
Dang,
anger,
Linnell.
okay,
You
and
know what,
aggression.
Jamila? I'm gonna tell you, I made sure I ate a nice juicy steak before I did this one. I'm like, you know what? I definitely need the spirit with me for this one. So I made sure I ain't eat nothing but a nice big old steak. It's been amazing. All right. But yeah, the concept that we should be eating raw vegetables all the time and that's healthy for us is fallacious. You know what I'm saying? So yeah.
I think that a lot of times, like, people get mixed into this all or whatever. Like, I don't ever think that anything is for everybody. Like, you know what I'm saying? Just like, like you were, I think I heard you saying something earlier about like the blood type diet, right? How people have different varieties and stuff. Like, even with people with their blood type, some people, even if you're not eating by your blood type, can choose to be like plant based or, raw fruit and veggie, like, depending on what they want to go, but they have to stay within like certain parameters. And just doing raw fruit and veggie is not necessarily just eating it, it could be also drinking it, right? Where you're juicing it or something like that. But to your point on the fibers, right? Being able to break down the fibers, oftentimes, like when you're juicing and stuff like that, you get a chance to be able to break down those fibers even better in those fruits or vegetables because of how you're consuming it. You know what I'm saying? Versus like the mastication process, and it might not break down because you're chewing it in your stomach acids, but it could, get to what it needs to get to in your body because you're drinking it. You know what I'm saying? Like the liquid version of anything is going to be better. Even vitamins. A liquid version of vitamins is going to probably 9 times out of 10 be the best option for you to absorb what you need to get from it.
um, so what about the anti-nutrients in the vegetables?
Such as
You know what? We're going to talk about some of those.
Yeah,
We're
let's talk
going
about
to talk
them.
about
And
some.
at the same time, you know,
Mhm.
I want to see these people who are living on these types of diets who are like, oh my God, I've been hospitalized because I was trying to be on a raw fruit and veggie diet. Like the actual, because there's a lot of people who are reporting and living, you know, the lifestyle, quote unquote, being on a raw fruit vegetable, and most of the time it's probably more like Caribbean-ish or people who are closer to like the equator or in better climates where there's sun, like, you know what I'm saying, and things like that of abundance. Whereas a lot of people who are in like, you know, not so climate dwelling like well areas who may suffer because they need a lot more from the environment to thrive on these types of diets as well. So let's talk about that. It's not just about what you're ingesting, it's also about, you know, your environment too.
So, like, are you saying that people who might live like in the Arctic or like cold environment, the types of foods that they might eat is completely different from somebody who's probably in like,
Absolutely.
okay, that's interesting.
Don't be using schoolboy terms on us either.
Yo. I hear you, Jamila. All right. So we were talking about the some leafy greens, right? Let's see, what kind of issues could we have with leafy greens?
And as if pesticides and goitrogens aren't enough, green vegetables are known to be sponges for dangerous bacteria.
And the CDC with a warning this afternoon about an E. coli outbreak linked to baby spinach.
You can get really sick, and if you're vulnerable, very young, very old, autoimmune problems, you can die from that.
Washing does not remove this bacteria because what it can do is get inside the cells, so washing doesn't do anything at all.
Number one is just don't eat it. Just when in doubt, throw it out.
Which explains a lot. Like, have you ever wondered why it's always the leafy greens that are contaminated with E. coli? It's because E. coli and other types of dangerous bacteria, like listeria, are found in soil. And what grows in soil? Green vegetables. And unlike fruits, which are usually grown on trees, or potatoes and onions that are grown in the ground and are usually peeled, green vegetables are just eaten as is. So if there's E. coli infested manure in that soil, and the food processor doesn't clean their vegetables well, those same vegetables could make their way to your plate.
All right. So what he was talking about was how there isn't an amount of washing leafy vegetables that can get certain bacteria off of it, right? With certain bacteria don't come off. Once it's infested on there, it's on there, and you can't just wash it off, right? And so I know that's one of the things people are like, oh no, you just gotta wash it good. Some of this stuff, once it's on there, it's like ragu, it's in there, right? So just be mindful of that, especially with the leafy greens, right? Do y'all know one of my favorite when it comes to health, one of my favorite people to kind of listen to who likes to break shit down? So I like a lot of Miss J's people are pretty cool. So she likes Dr. Berg and Candy Berry. He's cool. Y'all know I like Dr. Wallach. He be talking that realness. Who else? I got a couple of them that I like to listen to, but one of my favorites is Gary Brecka, right? And so this is Gary talking about vegetables.
To multiple people who are like carnivore diet type people, and basically they all think vegetables are poison.
A lot of vegetables are poison. I mean, they have lectins, they have all kinds of mechanisms in them to protect themselves from predators, just like we do. And a lot of these are gut destroying. Peanuts, for example, which aren't really nuts, they're seeds or legumes, are full of mycotoxins and lectins. A lot of vegetables have high amounts of lectins, which are like.
So do you eat vegetables?
I eat very little vegetable.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, I eat.
Are there any that's like good?
I eat asparagus, Brussels sprouts. I'll eat heads of broccoli and I eat arugula.
Okay.
Those are my go-to.
But other than that,
And
you're
lots
like,
of avocado, but
I don't
that's
want
technically a fruit.
Yeah. But fruit's fine.
Fruits are fine. I prefer fruits that end in berry. Blackberry, raspberry, blueberry, strawberry, they're lowest on the glycemic index. But remember, fruits, especially if you're going to spend money anywhere on organic nutrients, you want to spend money on organic fruits.
Okay.
Because fruits absorb nutrients through their skin. There was actually a recent publication that I read about inorganic strawberries, where they actually took inorganic strawberries right out of the supermarket. They pressed them and pulled the juice out of them. There was enough pesticide left over in the juice that they actually pressed out of the strawberry, inorganic strawberry, to respray the crop.
All right. So that one man, Gary Brecker, right? He's a man after my own heart. And it's not just him. Like, there's an entire movement of people who are going carnivore. They're like, yo, I'm not doing any vegetables. Right. And it's working. All right. So just like Jamila said, yo, there are lots of people who do just kind of vegetables all the time. I have no doubt. But there are people who go in the exact opposite direction. Right. And they do no vegetables, mainly just meat. And it works. Right. So that's the other thing, right? The thought process about, you have to eat vegetables to be healthy. Like, that's not true. So what you need to do is you have to have the minerals, the vitamins and minerals that you require. You have to have them in a form in which your body can process. All right, and that's kind of what I think Jamila was alluding to when she was talking about having your vitamins in liquid form, right? So liquid is definitely in a better form for your body to process, right? But it's the type of, like, what form is it in, right? So not just liquid, but what type of iron are you ingesting? Is your body prepared to take that in? Can it process plant iron better than it can process animal iron, right? Because they're not the same. They're not in the same form. Iron from plants is not the same as iron from animals. Okay. So that's something that we got to look at. And so what I want to do is I want to look at we're going to look at the anti-nutrients that are in a lot of the vegetables. But before we do that, there's something else I want to look at first, right? I want to look at how we got to where we are in terms of like obesity in the country. Like, how did people start getting fat? What was the impetus that started America down this road? So, like I said, RFK is killing it right now. Like, there's not too many things that he's doing that I disagree with. Right. But for a long time, there's an institutional problem when it comes to health. And so I think it'd be good to take a quick look at the institutional problem. All right. How did it start? When did it start? Where did it start? All right. So I got some clips. Like I said, they did a good job of breaking down kind of the descent into madness when it comes to kind of health in America. All right. And so we'll look at the person, because it actually comes from a specific person, that he's not solely responsible. He was the impetus for what we got now. So there's a couple things that happened. One was corporate greed, and then you couple that with a person popularizing a very faulty notion. And so we're going to look at those things right now, right? We'll look at when did we go off the rails, like as a country, as a society, with food.
So before you get there, though, I
Mhm.
do want to bring up a point as far as the whole attack on leafy green vegetables and, the idea of, vegetables being, what did you call it? A scam, whatever. A lot of green vegetables have chlorophyll in it, and chlorophyll is very important in the event that it actually provides level of protection for your body. Okay. And if you think about it, chlorophyll has been basically a focus area on curing and treatment and preventions of the big C. Okay. So now thinking about that as an idea, wouldn't you want to turn that into an enemy?
You said, do I want to turn chlorophyll into
I'm
an
saying
enemy?
yes, a
So,
if you have created a multi mega plan on making money off of disease or illness, wouldn't you say you shouldn't eat that? That's bullshit. When the stuff that is actually hindering your cause
mhm,
holds the key, you know what I'm saying, to it. Like chlorophyll is in a lot of the green leafy vegetables.
that's true.
And
So,
it has been focused and researched on
mhm,
curing the big C.
right,
So of course they're going to wage an attack on it. Not to say that, that again, like all people can, have that or focus on that, as their whole um, you know, uh diet plan. But I would say, you know what, stay away from it. Listeria, E. coli, don't eat it. Get away, like, because it's beneficial in the long run.
right. So, oddly enough, Jamila, I take chlorophyll in my tea in the morning. So I'm not demonizing chlorophyll,
Yeah,
right?
not you
Um,
specifically.
well, no, so this the thing. Um, there's not a demonization of um green leafy vegetables, right? What we're trying to do is put them in their proper perspective, right? They're not just this awesome superfood, right? There are issues that come along with them, and they have to be talked about. And so, in order for them to be used in a safe and effective manner, that's the point. Is that we have to put them in their proper perspective. That's all. Okay.
Because I don't want people feeling like or thinking that, oh, these, raw diets or, just eating this is a scam or this is bullshit. Like you shouldn't live like that, because a lot of these things are very helpful and nutritious to you. Pardon me. Depending on, again, how they're consumed, how often they're consumed, when they're consumed, like the time of day. That's with anything, you know what I mean? Like with
Where
anything.
tell me where in the mainstream that's talked about?
No, I don't think that it is talked about, but
Exactly.
I don't think that it really is talked about. But I know a lot of people are always on some, oh, all you do is eat plants or da 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 da, like you're doing an injustice to yourself. Like I don't think that that's,
No,
I don't think that that's
meat is
real.
way more demonized than plants.
Well, yeah, now it is because of all of the, antibiotics and, the
No, it's been more
meat.
demonized since the 50s.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I used to indulge, but I just brought it up because we was just talking about, the greens and stuff like that, and
Mhm.
how, there is a lot of, where there's always a listeria outbreak. And that was my point on the E. coli outbreak. That was my point in bringing that up, because across the globe, like, or across the nation, when those things happen, they put fear in people, because again, these things hold levels of chlorophyll in it. We don't know what they're really trying to do, you know by doing that. Like, who's to say that these really do have those levels, or it's just like one, isolated incident. Who knows? But what I'm saying is that they probably would definitely use that and target that to get people from ingesting those things often because of what it has in it. That's my point.
Okay. All right. Cool. So what I wanted to look at was, how did we start? Like, where did we start getting unhealthy? Like, where did the shift happen? Okay, and like I said, it's there's a profit motive involved, and then to escalate the profit motive, they finance somebody to do some propaganda. So let's look at kind of the start of where this shit start to go off the rails.
But then came the industrial age. Factories were popping up in every state. People started moving out of their sleepy countryside homes and taking jobs as factory workers in the big city. And in these factories, they were making all kinds of new products, like plastic combs, mass production clothing that left mountains of cotton seeds behind, and animal feed made of soybean and corn. And guess what? When the dried soybeans and corn would get crushed, a liquid oil would collect at the bottom of the vat. So what did these industrialists do with it? Well, not wanting to waste this perfectly good oil, these industrialists wanted to see what else they could use all this soybean, cottonseed, and corn oil for. They definitely couldn't eat these oils. They were incredibly toxic. For example, cottonseed oil contains a chemical called gossypol that is so toxic to male fertility that it's used today in China as male birth control, while also causing organ damage and paralysis, among other things. But luckily, they did end up finding a use for these oils as machinery lubricant. But come on, this was the industrial age of America. There's gotta be a way to turn this perfectly good waste oil into something edible. If we could turn it into something edible, think of how much more money we could make. And so, Procter & Gamble started testing cottonseed oil in their lab. They wanted to turn this gunky, toxic, rancid, smelly seed oil into a food-safe product. They added some chemicals to deodorize, some hexane to increase extraction rate, some artificial color to make it seem golden-ish, like olive oil. And they pioneered this new magical process called hydrogenation, which turns thin, liquid seed oil into a butter-like consistency. And after years and years of R&D, they had perfected the process. The result? A new kind of fat, the world's first solid shortening made entirely from a once liquid plant oil. And they would come to call it Crisco.
I bake 'em a different pie for every special holiday, so I'm fussy about getting my crust nice and flaky. I've always used Crisco. All vegetable Crisco blends in evenly for light, flaky pie crust. Even the bottom has such delicate flakes, you can blow them away.
It was new, it was innovative, and since it was this hard processed extract made from all these different industrial processes, it was shelf stable. It could last forever on a shelf without refrigeration, unlike animal fats like butter, tallow, or lard, which meant it had outrageous profit margins, which meant it could be priced way cheaper than expensive animal fats. And it was made out of cotton seeds? Who in their right mind was gonna all of a sudden start cooking with cotton? Wasn't cotton reserved for shirts or dresses or napkins? Do you expect me to eat this? The public had been cooking with animal fats and olive oil in other parts of the world since, well, forever. How were you going to convince them to switch over to this new, weird, hard, solid thing? Well, you don't mention that Crisco is made from cottonseed oil at all. No, you just offer vague euphemisms like Crisco is made from 100% shortening, or Crisco is Crisco and nothing else, or that Crisco was strictly vegetable, purely vegetable, or absolutely all vegetable, or that Crisco was made from vegetable oil. Oh, so that's where we got that term vegetable oil from.
Yeah, that's right. In your grandmother's cabinet, that blue little tub with red writing on it and the gold trim, Crisco. That's where it started. When they had all this extra oil left over from processing seeds, the cotton seeds, that they initially said was unedible. You couldn't eat. They was like, you know what? we gonna go ahead and deem it edible. And so they took that cottonseed oil and they invented Crisco. Right? And I still do in my head right now. I still hear my grandmother saying the word shortening. Right? And they eventually started calling it vegetable oil. Right? That was the start of it. When they invented vegetable oil, quote unquote. All right. And so the thing is, anybody that's like around here, and hear us talk and have conversations, hears me say all the time, don't use fucking oil to cook. Oil is the devil. All oil is the devil. And then people will be like, what about coconut oil? Does it end in oil? It's the devil. All right. All oil causes inflammation. If it ends in oil, it causes inflammation. What you say about what do you use to cook? You can use ghee, you can use butter, you can use tallow, which is what they used to use in restaurants. Dude, you ain't old enough to remember, Val, but McDonald's fries used to be the shit, right? McDonald's French fries used to be amazing. And then the fucking vegetarians sued McDonald's because the vegetarians was like, well, we want to eat them, the fries too. But they made of beef tallow. They cook them in beef tallow.
No, I remember the fries tasting so really, really good. I mean, they taste different now. When did they change the formula? When did they change the oil?
In like the
Yeah,
90s.
that sounds about right. Yeah, yeah, I remember.
Fries used to be amazing.
Absolutely.
They changed it. They went from beef tallow, which is not fucked up, doesn't cause inflammation, and tastes great, to using vegetable oil, which is trash, and it's fucking people up, right? And that's how we got here. So the start of the bullshit was the invention of Crisco, which started people using vegetable oil to cook instead of other natural things. It was really just fucking motor oil. All right.
It's funny because a lot of this all sounds like modern American issues. Because I feel like a lot of people went to the Crisco because, like you said, it's cheaper, it's more convenient, it's easier to get. It's like it's faster. It's just like fast food. Like a lot of people eat fast food because it's convenient. Like nobody wants to go out their way to make a full blown meal. And it's like now we're seeing after all these years the effects of like cutting corners.
Exactly. Cutting corners, being cheap, and letting corporations decide what you fucking eat with and what you eat, right? Because they like, well, shit. It's shit they were throwing away, and they decided to sell you their trash. You know what I'm saying? That they had already they determined it was unedible. You couldn't eat the shit, and so they just added some chemicals to it, and all of a sudden, viola is edible now. And it can sit. Dude, you go to the grocery store, that shit sitting on the shelf. It's just waiting. It's like, yo, it lasts forever. It don't go nowhere. In a
Have y'all
zombie
seen?
apocalypse, only thing left is gonna be roaches and Crisco.
Have y'all seen the video? Have you seen the video of Crisco being used as emergency heat source? All you got to do is put a wick inside the can and light it up. It'll last like 70 something days.
Oh, you talk about the lard?
It
Crisco.
ain't lard,
It's
it's
not lard.
Crisco.
It's Crisco. Crisco. You seen it,
Crisco
man?
is not lard.
You need to. You need to.
No, I ain't
Yeah,
seen
you
it.
need to look it
It
up.
sounds bad.
Yeah,
So you could probably drop some essential oils in there, and it'd probably be like a candle.
it's
Right.
exactly like a candle. Hold on, let me post a link. Y'all can watch.
Got you. All right. So
You can definitely burn Crisco like a candle.
Hmm.
People be making heaters out them motherfuckers because they burn so good.
Yeah, that's what Val was talking about. An emergency heat source.
Facts. They'll wrap like cotton and shit, like twill and tweet up in Crisco. And you can light that bitch damn near any time, wet, dry.
Gotta love it. All right. So I know what y'all thinking. Well, shit. I mean, it's just Crisco. My granny been using Crisco forever, right? I got a Crisco tub in there right now. People use it every day, all day, even today. What could possibly go wrong, like using Crisco? Like, how is that bad? I'm sure that's what you all thinking. How is Crisco bad?
And so, in just 5 years, 60 million cans of Crisco were flying off the shelves and into the stomachs of Americans. That's 3 cans of hardened cottonseed oil for every American family. And while everyone was stuffing their faces with this hardened cottonseed oil, that graph we showed you a minute ago, it started to tick up. Doctors all over the country were noticing that more and more people were dying from heart attacks. And this was definitely not normal. From 1870 and 1880, Dr. William Osler of the famous Johns Hopkins Hospital reported that there were 0 cases of heart disease between. 0. And by the early 1900s, World War I Dr. Paul Dudley said, out of 700 male patients at Massachusetts General Hospital, only 4 reported chest pain, even though there were plenty of them over 60 years of age. 4 out of 700. But starting in the 1950s, having clogged arteries became more and more common. But the final straw was when President Eisenhower had a heart attack, and it threw the medical establishment into a frenzy. The public went into a frenzy, and they wanted answers. To you, the reason why was clear. The rise in heart attacks perfectly lined up with the rise in the consumption of your fancy new seed oils. But you couldn't let the public catch on to that. You couldn't let the medical establishment catch on to that. You were sitting on $1 billion gold mine. You needed to find a way to point the finger somewhere else. Luckily, you had the perfect culprit to point the finger at. Those disgusting animal fats that people have been eating since the beginning of time.
In fact, at the time, there was hardly any evidence for Ansel Keys' idea that saturated fat and cholesterol cause heart disease. There was a large study called the 7-country study on nearly 13,000 men.
I am presently engaged in a major experiment involving the health and eating habits of some 10,000 individuals scattered throughout the world.
Looking at their diets and following them over time to see who died of heart attacks or any other cause of death. What were some of the problems with that study? He went to countries like Yugoslavia, Greece, Italy, that had been ravaged by World War II when he visited them.
We are collecting data on all types, from African tribesmen to American businessmen.
And he avoided countries like Switzerland, France, Germany, sausage eaters, omelet eaters, high saturated fat diets, who also had really low rates of heart disease. He cherry-picked his countries to get the desired results that he wanted.
All right. So before 1900, there's a doctor, I think it's at Johns Hopkins, reported 0 heart attacks, heart problems. 0. He's like, yo, before 1900, it didn't exist. Right? Then from 1900 to around 1920 something, he said we had about 4. Right? And so this is when Crisco is invented. All right, they started using Crisco around this time. So they just started it so it didn't get bad. Right? But around 1950, it became a freaking epidemic. When they introduced Crisco vegetable oil into the population, heart problems became rampant. All right. So I know a lot of people think that like, oh, health is just health. Like people have always, like the way we live, people have just always been like this. People always had heart attacks and shit like that. No. This is a relatively new thing. All right. The proliferation of chronic disease and heart problems and cancer and all of that shit is really new. And it's known what it is. They're hiding it, right? The companies know what's the problem, right? They know what's causing the problem, and they're just hiding it. They know what's keeping people sick. They know why you're having to have triple bypasses and why your arteries are clogged and why your blood pressure is fucked up. They know all of this shit. It's deliberate. You're being deliberately made sick.
It's deceptive too because it's like when some people go on like a health journey, it's like they'll say, "Oh, well, it's just like exercise and diet," and then everything will start working itself out. But then when you start looking into like diets and everything like that, it's most of like the bad stuff. Like you'll see people say like, "Well, start eating like chicken salads, eat more fruits and vegetables instead of using butter. Try using like a lighter
Olive oil. They be like,
oil
oh,
for
yeah, I
meats."
use olive oil.
Yeah, they say olive oil.
You know what I'm saying? So that's true, right? And so all the things that are being published or publicized as being healthy for you are the things that are making you sick. The things that are making you sick. Like it's pretty fucking devious, right? It's some devious shit, all right? And so it's known what's making you sick. They're hiding it. They're watching. They're literally watching people get sicker and fatter, right? And they're promoting. During this time, more and more seed oils came out. It wasn't just Crisco, and then that was it. No, other shit hit the market, right? And then they're changing the formulas of stuff um, that previously wasn't made with oil. They're making it with oil because it extends the shelf life, right? If you use the seed oil, it extends the shelf life, right? Let's look at some places where they just kind of put oils where they shouldn't have been.
Vegetable oils belong in the engines of cars, not in your food.
These are not real food products. These are products made in factories. These are products that require heat and chemicals and high pressure to extract what little oil there is.
The heat and chemicals used in the manufacturing process oxidizes these delicate seed oils. When you eat oxidized vegetable oils like soy, canola, corn, and safflower or sunflower, they create free radicals throughout your body that are highly inflammatory and known to cause heart disease and cancer. Why are we always trying to eat more antioxidants? To combat free radicals like the ones found in refined vegetable oils.
And then they're used by restaurants in the most carcinogenic way possible. They heat them, reheat them, cool them off, heat them again, and use them for a week. So switching to vegetable oils or seed oils was probably a terrible idea in the first place.
One researcher from the University of Minnesota went to a variety of fast food restaurants in her neighborhood and purchased French fries, and then took them back to her lab for testing. She found numerous compounds of toxic aldehydes in the fries. Aldehydes are known to cause gene mutation, alter RNA and DNA, and trigger massive inflammation in the body.
Vegetable oil is highly toxic, and anyone who advises people to eat vegetable oils is also giving misinformation.
I tell my clients to avoid the industrial seed oils as much as possible.
Vegetable oils belong in the engines of cars, not in your food. Refined vegetable oils are one more reason you should avoid fast food and processed food. If it comes in a bottle or a box, it probably contains vegetable oils, from crackers to cookies, mayonnaise to salad dressings, baby food, and even baby formula.
They put it in everything. That shit is worse than Frank's Red Hot. They putting vegetable oils in everything. Right? Places where you don't even think it is. All right. What's that shit? Like everybody liking oat milk right now. Uh, yo, look at your oat milk. Unless it's like Elmhurst. I think Elmhurst is like 3 ingredients. But look at them oat milks that y'all love so much. Or your nut waters, I should say. Well, it ain't even water, because a lot of shit it's just it's oil. They use oil. All right. A lot of your substitute anything, they use oil. They just putting that shit everywhere they can fucking put it. Cause it's a byproduct. And it's like, well shit, if we could sell the garbage, we winning. They're winning.
So if you're a vegan or a vegetarian, so like what oil should you be using?
A vegan or vegetarian. So
So
go ahead.
I would say like olive oils, coconut oils, flaxseed oils.
You're cooking with that?
He said, what type of oil should you
So
use?
you're suggesting that people cook with oil?
So I'm not suggesting that people do cook with oil because I do believe and agree with you as far as like, you know, the detriment of like the negative side effects of your health with cooking with oils. And I mean, but we differ as far as like the fat is concerned, like, you know, because you don't necessarily believe in like high cholesterol and stuff like that. And that's fine. But I would think that I'm just saying in general, like people that are looking for types of oils, like coconut oil is like a high burning point, like it's a high point, what is that, smoke point, that you could cook with. I mean, olive oil, but i
All
i
that
per-
shit causes
personally would probably
inflammation.
like use them more raw, like, and eat them in salad dressing or something like that. Like I think it's more beneficial that way. But the oils that I definitely would use and cook with include the olive oil, and if I'm, you know, making stuff with like coconut oil for sure.
So there's a difference between like a seed oil and a vegetable oil. Is there, are those two different?
No.
It's
It's
the same.
all causes
Okay.
inflammation. Anything that ends with oil causes inflammation when you cook with it.
And I think
So
that's what needed to be, because I heard you when I was reading to Ari, and you're like, oh, oils are the devil. And I'm like, what?
the
But yeah,
devil.
specifically, if you're cooking with it, yes, it can, there are levels of inflammation.
Ghee, butter, tallow, lard. You know what I'm saying?
But even the butter sometimes in the container it'll say that it's oils.
Butter? Real butter? No, it's not
Oh,
oils.
not real butter. No. But the
Yeah,
butter, like,
no, I said real butter. You talking about
yeah,
fucking margarine.
yeah,
You know, goddamn margarine. I can't believe it's not
yeah.
butter ass nigga.
That.
No, not that shit. Nigga, that's it. No, that's not butter. You know what I'm saying? That's not butter. So yeah, B. Uh yeah, if you're cooking, hey, if you're okay with it, all oils cause inflammation if you're gonna cook with it. All right. If it ends in oil, inflammation. Just kind of think that.
And always call margarine because, like Lynell said, it's not butter.
It's not butter. You know why you can't believe it's not butter? Cause it's not fucking butter.
So I gotta throw away that country crock in my fridge.
Bruh.
That's oil.
No, don't throw away
That's
the don't throw away the country crock
yes.
container. The country
Please.
crock
Right,
on the
right.
inside.
You can
Throw
use the
away the
container,
container.
but
We ain't
Oh
doing
damn.
that.
that shit
No.
ain't butter. Yes. People really that's yeah, people really be thinking that's just real butter though, Linnell, for real. And
Bruh.
they grew up with it, but it's not. Butter's made of cream. You can take cream, or you can go get you a bottle of carton of whipping cream and put it in your dang on mixer and just mix it for about 20 minutes. You'll have real butter.
All right, I promise. I hold my hands up. I promise. After this big tub is gone, I'll stop using it.
Bruh.
After the tub is gone, it's
Wait a
already
minute. You said when the big tub
Yeah,
is
wait.
gone,
the tub of
you ain't
country
gonna get
crock.
rid of the big
Wait
tub.
a minute, Linnell. It's already
There's
too
stuff on
late
the
for him
inside.
anyway. You gone anyway.
Hey.
Don't they make the butter off the milk when it
The cream.
sits? The cream rises to the top and shit, and they make the butter
Yeah.
with it. So how the fuck is it healthy?
You said how was it? Who? Oh, hey,
How's it
bro.
healthy?
Butter,
If it's
how is the
milk,
butter healthy?
yeah, if it's milk.
It's way better than that damn oil that they hand
I,
made for
I
you.
mean, I agree
Okay.
somewhat, but it's still not healthy.
It's
Shit,
I
fat.
mean, because what if
it's a
you're
healthy
allergic to
fat.
milk
It's a
or
So
lactose?
it
Yeah, it's
has
a
a
healthy
higher
fat.
so the animal stuff like the butter and stuff is a higher saturation of fat so that it like the smoke point and the deterioration of those quote unquote like oils don't affect as much because like that's what the problem is like when you're heating up oils you're damaging something depending if you take it to like the smoke point. First of all, it's a chemical compound or whatever chemical reaction that's occurring, right? And you're changing the composition of the oils when you heat it up, right? And when you take it past those oils smoke points, because every oil has like a smoke point depending on how much saturated fat, the percentage of like saturated fat versus unsaturated fat in those items. And then the more that you take it past its burning point, you're furthermore harming the oil, which in turn is going to harm you when you're ingesting it because you're no longer again getting the benefits and you're creating a totally different compound that you're ingesting into your body. Where as far as the animal stuff, it's not going to be as harsh because they have a higher smoke and burning point because they have a higher level of the fats. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I got you. I get it. I feel like I do honestly. Can y'all hear me? Hello? I do feel like, watching all this little silly shit that I be watching on the internet, like the shit that God made for you, it's hard to damage. Like, have y'all ever seen, I know you're gonna laugh at me, but have y'all ever seen, like when they take a little metal ball and they heat it up to the highest point and they put it on a piece of fruit and it don't really damage it damages it where it was setting, but it don't like just blow it up like it should. But then it put it on a chip or something that's man made, and it can withstand all. I mean, it can't withstand none of that heat. Like, if y'all seen them videos, please tell me somebody watches that shit.
Nah,
Yeah, I
nobody
seen that
watches that,
stuff.
bro. No,
I
I'm
seen
joking.
Okay.
Hey, Dave, the one where they have with the
it.
pineapple and they take like the metal ball and the pineapple joint be real crazy because they don't really penetrate the pineapple
Nah,
like that.
exactly. And I'll be
Yeah.
like, but it's just funny because it's like it's here for us to consume and it's hard to damage, but yeah, we just look at it like it ain't shit. You know what I'm saying? He took a damn banana and put it on there, and the banana just where it
Yeah.
was at. Literally, you could have
Now,
cut
was
that
that a
little piece
GMO
off.
banana? Or was it a natural banana?
Uh,
Or one that was
Ah, it
GMO,
didn't
though?
say. It didn't say.
all
See, we
right.
don't even know.
Um.
It didn't.
So, uh, let's look at the gentleman that single-handedly ruined the American diet. Right. So, I'm hyperbolizing. He didn't single-handedly ruin it, but he provided um the tool for them to destroy how we eat in America. So in the previous clip, or maybe it was two clips ago, she said his name. His name was Ansel Keys, and so she talked about how he did this study. He did a 7-country study on diets, right? And based on his findings that he published, it laid the foundation for how nutrition and healthy eating is viewed in America today. And so this is a quick breakdown where they talk about what he actually did, like the specifics of his study.
So, back in the 1950s, there was barely any research done on how diet causes disease. Kind of weird, right? People were more concerned about how to cure life-threatening diseases like the Spanish flu or scarlet fever, not how to prevent them from happening by eating a healthy diet. But when this one scientist, Ansel Keys, took a trip to the Andes in 1933, he noticed how the fresher air made him feel healthy and energetic. And then he started to wonder if food could do the same thing. He called this study human physiology, and it became Ansel Keys' obsession. And with all this heart attack stuff happening in the 1950s, it was kind of the perfect timing. Keys already knew there was some loose research on how cholesterol, the waxy substance found throughout our body, can build up in our arteries and stop our heart from beating, also known as heart attacks. And he knew that animal fats like butter, egg yolks, red meat, and lard were technically high in dietary cholesterol. So maybe people who eat a lot of cholesterol would be more likely to clog their arteries with it and get a heart attack. It kind of made sense. And yes, it is true that heart disease only started to rise after Americans started replacing their cholesterol-rich animal fat with processed seed oils. But whatever, he decided to test it out anyway. And so, Ansel developed a study that would change the way Americans eat forever. It was called the 7 Countries Study.
He looked at, Ansel Keys and his team went around and they looked at serum cholesterol levels and they looked at diet. And, Ansel Keys had gone into this study thinking, I want to prove my hypothesis. And he did, in the end, show a very weak correlation between saturated animal fats and your risk of having a heart attack.
Keys followed the diets of people from 7 different countries: Italy, Greece, Yugoslavia, the Netherlands, Finland, Japan, and the US. He wanted to see if the type of foods these people ate caused them to get heart disease. And the results were, honestly, a little shaky. He found that the men in the US and Finland ate way more red meat, cheese, and butter than the rest of the countries and had the highest cholesterol, which meant, to him, a higher risk of heart attack. And the people he followed in Italy, Greece, Yugoslavia, Japan, and the Netherlands ate a way lower amount of red meat, cheese, and butter. They mostly ate fish and vegetables and had a lower risk of heart disease. And to him, this was a revelation. He thought that comparing these 7 countries was enough proof that saturated fat from animal foods were the biggest cause of heart disease. And never mind that the men in the US and Finland had the most stressful jobs out of everyone in the study, and that Keys conveniently decided to study Greece during Lent, which is a period during the year when people don't eat any red meat or animal fat, just fish and vegetables. The rest of the year, the Greeks ate just as much red meat as Americans did. Anyhow, Keys gets the results he wanted. Yay! Meat is bad for you.
For one, it only measured the diets of fewer than 3% of its participants, which is nowhere near a statistically representative sample. So it really didn't know what these people were eating. Number 2, it was the kind of study that only shows association and not causation. So it really can't ever prove that reducing animal fats was what caused the reduction in heart attacks. Number 3, it didn't actually show that there was a reduced total mortality. So people weren't dying of heart attacks, but maybe they were dying of something else. I want to share with you one particular other methodological flaw, which I think is really more emblematic than anything else, which is that it had to do with the islanders of Crete. So these are the people on whom the whole Mediterranean diet came to be based. Ansel Keys looked at the dietary records of about 32 or 33 of them. That's the total population he looked at. He went to this island. He fell in love with them because they were just seemed to him ideal. They lived this life of a peasant. It was a beautiful, unruined Crete, not the hyper-hoteled Crete of today. And that he went to Crete 3 times for a week each. And one of those weeks he showed up. Turns out he turned up during Lent, when everybody is avoiding eating animal foods. So he no doubt undercounted the amount of saturated fats that was being consumed by that population.
Why did he pick those 7 countries? Why didn't he pick more than 7 countries? 7 countries seems like a small number for such a revolutionary finding. Did he roll the dice, spin a wheel? Or did he pick those countries because he already knew that they would give him the results he wanted?
So essentially, they're accusing him of cherry picking his countries to get the findings that he wanted for his outcome, right? He had an hypothesis. He went and did a study, and he chose the places and times and the small number of people that he sampled, right? I think she said the number was 3%. So essentially, he did that to manufacture an outcome, right? And so now he can make the claim that supports what the large corporations pushing seed oils wants, which is that, oh, animal fats are the reason that, people are having heart attacks. That's what's bad for you, right? That's the claim that he wants to make. And so he's able to make that claim with this data, even though people at the time, some of his peers and contemporaries were calling him out for what he did. Like, it's not like he did it and nobody said nothing at the time. People were calling him out for what he did and his methods. But as always, when the machine wants a certain narrative, then that's what's pushed. Okay. And so his research, his study, his information laid the foundation for what was to come in our lifetime, right? So our lifetime, they gave us, like when we were in school, we saw the food pyramid. That's all based on Ansel Keys' research. So I know it sounds kind of, oh, what's this dude going around the world studying these random people got to do with me? Well, the national food policy was based on the things that he laid out. And it came through an organization that all of you people are familiar with. Y'all know the organization that's responsible for how fucked up our shit is right now? Any idea? There's one organization that it was
FDA?
it was obscure as shit, right? It had no clout, no following, no money until he published this study, and then all of a sudden it became damn near the most important organization or association in the country. Any ideas?
USDA? I don't know.
Not the USDA. It's not a part of the federal government.
Oh.
Right? It's an association. I gave you a hint. No, not the WHO, Jocelyn. The American Heart Association.
Yes.
In 1948, Procter & Gamble, the makers of Crisco, gave you $1.7 million in a radio contest, which is the equivalent of $17 million today. Companies like Quaker Oats, Kellogg's, and Frito-Lay gave your board members mountains of money to do all kinds of questionable studies on how their low-fat junk foods were heart healthy. Ansel Keys was on the board at the AHA and ran the National Diet Heart Study. So slowly but surely, the AHA started becoming one of the richest and most influential health organizations in America, and the government started to take notice. So you, the AHA, compiled this corporate-funded research into a handy dietary goals pamphlet with a professional logo on the corner. And when the government read your low-fat dietary guidelines, they were like, yeah, sure, why not? They modeled their own guidelines after yours. And in 1980, the American government released their first official dietary guidelines, and it was glorious. It started out as this, and it would later evolve into the food pyramid as we know it today. And as you can see, evil, nutrient-dense meat and animal fats were out, regulated to only a tiny fraction of what you were supposed to eat. And all these nutrient-void peasant foods like bread, cereal, vegetables, and all these new processed foods made with shortening, margarine, and vegetable oil were in. It could not have been more backwards. And yet, that's exactly what happened. The US government's food guidelines had been successfully co-opted by corporate interests through the guise of the American Heart Association. Now, if you were eating 11 slices of American bread a day, you were following the government's guidelines. But eat a steak? Ugh. What, do you want a heart attack? And it was the final nail in the coffin for animal fats.
So Ansel Keys, the guy that did the study, was on the board of the American Heart Association. Procter and Gamble gave them the equivalent of $17 million today, right? And that enabled them to push forth their propaganda, right? From his study, they developed a guideline, and then the government took their guideline, they adopted it, and then that turned into the food pyramid that's fucked up, that you guys even see today. So all of this shit goes back to Ansel Keys getting paid by Procter and Gamble to promote an agenda that elevated a lot of the processed foods that we see, right? And so they demonized meat and animal fats and promoted healthy oils and trans fats and zero sugar shit, right? And all these processed foods. And that's how we got where we are today, right? So I wanted to do that right quick, so you like as a real quick recap of how we got to where we are historically. Okay. Um, and so put it with that in mind, we're gonna back up a little bit. I know I told Jamila that we would look at some anti-nutrients, because remember, this is all about vegetables, right? And how the concept of vegetables is given to us is um is 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 I, for those that think scam is kind of a heavy word, it's misleading and incomplete. Our understanding of what vegetables are is misleading and incomplete. Let me put it like that. Okay. And so what I'll do is um, we'll run through well, hold on. Anybody got any questions about anything we talked about so far? I know it's been there's a lot of information all at once, kind of how I like it, right? And so I'll be running through stuff kind of quickly. I like to keep a nice little pace. If I got any questions about anything we talked about so far?
So you
No.
were saying that Ansel Keys had some peers or contemporaries or some opponents. Did they publish anything that would combat his work, or did it get buried by different
You know
corporations
what?
along the
I
way?
didn't look to see if they published anything in like medical journals, right? Yeah, I didn't look to see if they published anything in medical journals. I'll have to actually look. That's a great question. Great question. I'll check it out though.
Also, would any of the old medical manuals, like the Merck manual, like kind of, I guess, contest what he was talking about in the early 1900s?
You said with any of the so you know what? What I would say is any manual, I think you have to look at who owned it, because if it was connected to one of the big corporations, probably not. Because remember, they're the ones that are kind of funding this shit. Know what I mean? All right, yo, check this out, Ethan. Opponents of Ansel Keys' research, particularly his 7-country study, argue that the findings were. Hold on, I'm trying to see if anybody published anything. Um, let's see. Hold on. Who? Um, yo. Let's see. Oh, so a dude named Jacob Yerushalmi. Yo, he looks. This is Jacob Yerushalmi and Herman E. Hilbo. So those are two dudes that raise concerns. Let me see. Hold on.
Hey, real quick. I know when he said I was listening, but I couldn't get to my phone. When dude said the turning that pyramid food thing upside down, that
Mhm.
do make a lot of sense. I mean, not a lot of sense. That's just the type of shit that they do. But I don't know, because I don't eat meat. But at the end of the day, it seems like that's what they did. But then they
Mhm.
try to capitalize on it with the way they produce meat, because getting it from a farm, because my people's they got a farm and shit like that. That meat's totally different than the meat you get in the stores. Of course, we know it, but what they've done to it has made it to where it's a killer as well, to make it even more fit their little description uh of that little pyramid, the way I take it.
Yeah. So pumping. One, not feeding animals what they're meant to eat. They kind of feed them fucking oats and shit like that to make them fat. They feed them corn. They're not meant to eat corn. That makes them sick, and then they give them antibiotics. They give them drugs. They do all kinds of random shit to them so that they aren't healthy. And to your point, kind of makes them. It makes them more unhealthy than what they should be. Right. So I agree with that. A Ethan, it says a paper published. So Jacob and Herman both published. I'm using their first names because that Yerushalmi is wild, and Hilbo. Yeah. So Yerushalmi and Hilbo were experienced statisticians who published a paper titled "Fat in the Diet and Mortality from Heart Disease," a met, met, methodologic note. They criticized Key's methodology and statistical analysis, pointing out potential flaws in his conclusion. The paper highlighted concerns about the way data was collected, the selection of countries, and the interpretation of results. So yeah, they actually did do a. They published a paper here. Let me see if I can get the link. I think this is it. The link right here. Um, let's see. It's the link right here. Hold on. So they sending me to no abstract available. Yo, can I just get the paper? Yo, they give me link after link. Yo, never go to PubMed. PubMed is ass. I hate they fucking what you call it.
Hey, is that the two main peers? I mean, critics for
I think so. That's
Keys?
what's coming up.
Because I got my
Yeah, I got it. I
assistant
just put the
said
link in the chat.
I
Huh?
got you because they mentioned John Yudkin
Okay.
with his book on Pure White and Deadly in 1972, and then Raymond Reiser, who was a
Pure white and deadly. I
biochemist.
think that's about sugar, right?
Yeah, it says that because Keyes'
Yeah.
position is fat,
Yeah.
Yudkin's position was that it was
It's
sugar
sugar.
that was
It's the
being
sugar. Yeah. And so that's the one where um the sugar companies paid 3 Harvard scientists to come out talking about fucking cholesterol and fat and fat. And just to point the finger away from the sugar. Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right, sweet. So there you go. Good questions. All right. So, yeah, what I wanted to do is I promised Jamila that we would look at some anti-nutrients. And so what I wanted to do is we'll look at like the top 10 anti-nutrients, where they're found, and we'll look at ways to neutralize them. Okay. We'll look at the top 10 anti-nutrients. So remember, anti-nutrients are things that prevent your body from absorbing the nutrients in the foods, right? And so we're like everybody always talks about the nutrients that are in foods, but nobody ever talks about the fact that those foods don't want you to. They don't want to be eaten, and so now we gotta figure out a way around it. So if you're going to eat them, and this is what I was saying to Jamila, it's not about me saying don't eat them. It's about me saying, yo, understand that just because um the spinach has iron in it doesn't mean you can just eat the spinach and get the iron just like that. There's a process for eating these foods so that they're not harming you. Because if you just eat them straight off, you ain't getting no fucking benefit, right? And it might just fuck you up. Cool. So the first anti-nutrient is called phytic acid. All right. Or some people call it it's also called phytate. This is probably the most well-known anti-nutrient that's found in grains, legumes, and interferes with the absorption of minerals. Phytic acid can unfortunately lock up high percentages of phosphorus, calcium, copper, iron, magnesium, and zinc. That's a lot. It says it locks up about 80% of the phosphorus. So if you're eating like a high phosphorus food like pumpkin, right, or sunflower seeds. So you got pumpkin seeds, sunflower seeds. Y'all know I used to love pumpkin seeds, sunflower seeds. If you're eating foods like that, they got a lot of phosphorus in it. They also have zinc, right? Cashews got a lot of zinc. Chickpeas got zinc. I know my vegans love fucking chickpeas, right? If you're eating these things, the phytic acid prevents you from getting about 80% of the shit.
Yeah, I know that that was like really hard because there's a lot of phytic acid in like wheat and oh man, like a lot of the cereals and grains, like that's a lot of the stuff that we eat. So it's kind of like counterproductive when you realize like damn, there's a whole science around how to fucking eat, I tell you.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm consuming chickpeas, though, right? Is there something else that I could eat that would make me or allow for the those nutrients to be extracted properly and processed through the body?
Haha. There you go. Great question, Val. Um, so if you eat foods rich in vitamin C, right, or citrus foods, they can counteract the phytate and increase iron absorption. And foods rich in vitamin A, like sweet potatoes or berries, can improve iron absorption. All right. This one other thing. So phytic acid, it also inhibits and it's a digestive enzyme called amylase, trypsin, and pepsin. Right, amylase breaks down starch. Pepsin and trypsin, they break down proteins, and so phytic acid can also inhibit those things from working. All right. To reduce the phytic acid in foods, you can soak it. You can sprout it. You get the sprouting, fermentation, soaking, um, and cooking methods like boiling or pressure cooking can be effective. Okay, so this is why, like your grandma them, your auntie them, great auntie them, great great grandma them, they used to soak their beans and grains overnight. You know what I'm saying? They're like, oh yeah, we're gonna have some beans tomorrow. We gotta soak these motherfuckers at night. You gotta soak them because they gotta get the anti nutrients out. They wasn't just soaking them just to be soaking them, right?
Thing is, people was doing stuff the right way and don't even know why they was doing
Right.
it.
Yep.
We there's so many traditions that we have that we're like, oh, we just do that because my grandma did it, because my
I
mama did
was
it.
thinking the same thing to me. I was like,
Right.
damn.
We don't know. We just do it because that's what we do.
Ancestors told us to
You
do
know?
it,
So
baby.
thinking about it now in this conversation is just like, bruh.
Oh yeah. So your peoples knew the way. They knew what they was doing. They thing is they I don't know if they didn't know, right? But they never told us. right? They just told you, yo, this is how you do it. Don't ask no questions. I don't think they knew. Somewhere along the line, somebody like knew, and they just forgot to pass down the information,
When
right?
was there time to pass down the information? You're trying to get this food prepared and moving and keeping going. But yeah, that's why the tradition, that's that oral lesson. But you're right, without the understanding, then we just, keep copying why it's happening. But, when do they have time?
Hmm. They had time. Thing is, again, I don't think they knew. I think, hey, they was taught that way, and they did the way that they was taught, and that's just what it was, right?
You
So I
ever
think,
notice like when people explain a joke and it loses its like ability to make it funny, or you explain something and it gets you out of a situation that was really good? I think this is a similar premise when it talks about certain traditions. Like certain things are left unsaid. It's like you do it because this is the way. Like you can sit here
mhm.
and come up with a new way and do it that way, and that way may not work. But if you just follow the rules of whatever the village was doing, it's real simple. But the fact that we got a myriad of different choices to choose from, that's what gets things kind of effed up. So if you go back to the original, you just follow the particular way and don't question it. Now, I'm not saying that works in all circumstances, but in this one, I don't know if it's necessarily something that has to be explained scientifically.
Hey, yeah, I'm with Rodney. Rodney said, yo, you soak them because of the gas. They're like, oh yeah, if you don't want them, if you don't want these beans to give you gas, then you gotta soak them. I remember hearing that. Like, oh
Did you?
yeah, yeah, you gotta.
Hey, on my mama, that's what my granny used to say.
I swear to God, it's like, yo, this ain't got shit to do with gas. This got to
And the
just do it.
motherfucker, look, and the motherfucker still be farting after you done ate them.
Right. So yeah, this ain't got nothing to do with gas. It's got to do with getting the anti-nutrients out. Cause it's poison in these here beans, boy.
And just to, kind of people, I see you hope like, oh, it's good for, it's not bad for most people. And I would agree to that it's more detrimental to people who follow certain diets, plant-based diets, because you're already trying to gain nutrients in other ways. So often a lot of the foods that, plant-based people are accustomed to is very prone to have the phytic acid in it. So we're basically, oftentimes like fighting, like, oh, we're losing nutrients. We're like, oh, we're eating this, but we're really counteracting ourselves because we're eating the shit that's, not allowing us to absorb, a lot of the nutrients. But yeah, if you eat like a well-rounded diet, according to the whole food pyramid or whatever, then that is, beneficial. But you can also get rid of the phytic acid in certain foods if you're like fermenting, like, if you are utilizing like vinegar and things like that, which is also a part of like the fermentation process. Like they said, soaking and things like that. So there are ways that you can still enjoy these foods that are high in this anti-nutrient and make it be helpful for you so that it's not harming you.
So I'm talking about Jamila. Keep it a stack. All right. For those that don't know, so I haven't had a smoothie in a while, right? But um, y'all know I'll be making ice cream from scratch. It's my thing. Mm. So yeah, I say that to say if y'all hear me go on mute, just know I'm swallowing my ice cream. Um, let's see. Number two, anti-nutrient number two. A lot of you people are familiar with. I think, yo, this has only been. I think it's only got bad recently. Like when I was a kid, we didn't have this problem. Gluten. So gluten causes inflammation and damage of the intestines of people with celiac disease or gluten sensitivity. May lead to nutrient malabsorption. Um, So y'all know what gluten does? Very simply, in your intestines, you have these it's like finger-like things on the wall of your intestine called villi. Okay, the villi is how you absorb nutrients, right? So after your stomach breaks the food down, um, it goes into your intestine and it gets absorbed into your body through the villi. Gluten destroys your villi. Nice and simple. Okay, and so that's what makes it hard for it leads to malabsorption because it destroys the mechanism by which you absorb nutrients.
Can villi be regrown,
Hmm.
and regenerate?
Yeah. Hmm. Yeah. Um, it's found in wheat, barley, rye, spelt, and kamut. All right. There is no way to actually neutralize gluten. Can't boil it. Can't ferment it. None of that. Mm, yeah. So the only way to get around it is to avoid it. All right, and this is only for people with like gluten sensitivity, which I think is some new shit. Like, I think the American way, like the diet, is creating the celiac disease. I don't think that's natural. All right. All right. Number three. We've talked about this before. Tannins. 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 Tannins are a type of enzyme inhibitor that prevent adequate digestion and can cause protein deficiency and gastrointestinal problems. Because we need enzymes to properly metabolize food and usher nutrients to our cells, molecules that inhibit enzymes can cause bloating, diarrhea, constipation, and other GI issues. So, Dr. Nardi talked about enzymes all the time, right? So, his thing was enzymes. He was like, "Yo, if you have the enzymes to digest food, then you'll be fine." So, you should be trying to run an enzyme surplus, right? And he got a book where he talked about how many enzymes it took to digest each food. It was a lot of foods too. And so he's like, "Yo, there are some foods that give you a enzyme plus, where if you eat it, it adds enzymes to your system, like pineapples. Pineapples adds enzymes to your system. So if you eat pineapples on the regular, like it helps you digest food. And then most foods they take away from your enzymes. So it's like having a it's like having money. And every time you eat food, it costs you money to eat the food. And so that's what your enzymes are. And so when you run out of digestive enzymes, then you can no longer process or digest the food. And so you're not getting the benefits from it. And so his thing was to eat foods that didn't take a lot of enzymes to digest. And that way you would be healthy because your body could process everything you put into it.
When they also block the absorption of iron. I don't know if you said that. I didn't hear you say that. But yeah.
Hmm. So let's look at some foods with tannins up in them. So fruits. So these are some high tannin foods.
Tea, coffee, wine. Yes, wine is a good one, Rodney. Ugh,
Grapes.
so sad. It's so sad. This episode is really sad. It's hurting me.
I ain't gonna lie, you got me too. I got a question for everybody when y'all get done. So everybody stay on. I need some help.
Um, so yeah, grapes, apples, especially when unripe, pears, berries like cranberries and blueberries, peaches, plums, persimmons, and pomegranates, almonds, pecans, walnuts, hazelnuts. All right. Let's see, beans and lentils.
Just throw the whole episode away.
Oh, don't forget dark chocolate, ladies. Very high in tannins.
Hey, for all the tea and coffee drinkers, I just want to let y'all know, cold brew uh, stops, all the tannins from getting, not all of them, but reduces that shit significantly. Thank you.
Actually, putting some lemon juice in your tea reduces tannins as well. Um, let's see, huh?
I'm back, baby. Put some lemon juice in that joint. I'm back in the game. Cold brew. Yes.
Yeah, lemon juice neutralizes the tannins. Barley, rhubarb, squash, and some leafy vegetables. Um, cloves, tarragon, cumin, thyme, vanilla, and cinnamon. All are high in tannins.
It's over for me.
That was funny. All right, and so methods of neutralizing tannins. Let's see. A pinch of baking soda can neutralize tannins and reduce bitterness in tea. Like I said, also lemon juice. Milk binds with tannins and reduce their impact.
Hey, bro, who the fuck is gonna put baking soda in their tea, bro?
Well, the people could put baking soda in the water to kind of like purify and neutralize the water. So it's no different than,
Yeah,
if you did that to your water and then dipped your tea bag in it.
y'all,
Think about
It
it like
definitely
that.
makes it less
y'all
acidic.
all, y'all all the
Hey,
way.
it reminds me of that damn cleanse we were doing with that baking soda and what was it, molasses or some
Nah,
shit.
that ain't gonna be nothing. Yeah, that ain't
That shit was
even close.
nasty as
That shit
fuck.
be don't be nasty, Dave. Come on, wake it up. Tell the truth about these things.
Hey, hey, but it worked though. It works.
Facts.
That
Let's
is
see.
for beyond the point. Okay, this is just a reminder for anybody because I feel like I do be having to tell people when y'all do cleanses and stuff, y'all hear us talking about, oh yeah, we doing this, we doing that. Trust and believe this shit is nasty as hell. Okay, it is not no walk in the park. It's not no walk in the park for us. And it ain't damn sure ain't gonna be no walk in the park for you, especially if you doing it for the first time. Okay? So just know that. Tread
Look,
lightly, my friends.
we
Hold
gotta.
on, Jamila. Then it
Hang
gets
on a second.
worse. You gotta keep getting more and more
Every
out the
day.
song.
Every day is a new day. It's a new struggle. I tried to told you. Linnell be up here acting like, oh, it's amazing. It's like Mr. Rogers' neighborhood and shit. Like, shut your ass up. Y'all got any questions about any of this stuff that we be taking, we be doing? Come to me, because I'm gonna tell you for real.
Hey, not everybody be suffering like y'all suffer, bro. Not
Swear to God.
not y'all as in like you and Linnell. I'm talking y'all as in like you and Wasi. Like we don't all be suffering.
It ain't got nothing to
How
do with
y'all must
suffer. It ain't
suffer.
got nothing to do with suffer. It is the reality of what something tastes like versus what something don't taste like.
I think taste,
It ain't about
I
suffering.
think the taste is accurate, but like I'm saying, so like some of the shit I've tried, right, or that we try here, like it doesn't treat everybody the same
I
way. You know what I'm saying?
I agree, but we strictly talking about taste right now.
All right, let's get through this list. Um,
Swear.
I know, right? Food. Let's see. Fats can coat the mouth, presenting tannins from reacting with saliva and sticking to teeth, which can be helpful with wine. So if you eat something with fat, like maybe some butter or something. I don't know. Let's see. And soaking nuts in water can help remove tannins and improve nutrient absorption. All right. So there you go. That's how you get rid of your tannins. Let's see. Where we at? Number 4 on the list. do I just put up? Yeah. Number 4 is oxalates. Similar to tannins, oxalates are found in the highest quantities in sesame seeds, soybeans, and black and brown varieties of millet. The presence of these anti-nutrients make plant, especially legume proteins, of poor quality. Um, let's see. Where's the oxalates at?
You said set. What was the first couple of them? Sesame
Oh,
seed.
hold on, wait. Here goes some more foods with high oxalates. Raspberries, kiwis, dates, oranges, starfruit, and avocados. Spinach, rhubarb, beets, Swiss chard, okra, potatoes, and bamboo shoots. Almonds, cashews, peanuts, walnuts, and pecans. Let's see. Beans like navy beans and kidney beans. Soy products like tofu. Brown rice, buckwheat, and cornmeal. And tea, chocolate, and cocoa. And also miso and stevia, the sweeteners, also up in there as well. All right, so that's oxalates. All right, those are your foods with
Damn
oxalates
shame.
up in them.
It's a
I
damn
know, right?
shame.
Oh, I know, I know. And so how do we reduce oxalates? All right, boiling, blanching, and steaming. What the hell is a blanch?
Can I
Um,
tell you? Excuse me. It's just running it through swiftly through hot water, hot temperature, and then taking it out fast. Blanching.
mm,
Yeah.
mm,
Yeah.
cool.
But
Let's see. These methods, especially boiling, can significantly reduce soluble oxalates by up to 87%. Discarding the cooking water after these processes help remove the oxalates. So remember, guys, when you guys are soaking or boiling or steaming or any of that shit, you gotta toss the water, right? Because other than if you don't toss the water, then you just fucking you're eating the water with the oxalates up in it. So when you soak something to get some anti nutrients out, you gotta toss the fucking water.
can
All
I
right.
add something? Can I add something to this? Or
To what? What part? What do you
so
want to add
we
something
when
to?
you I don't know if you're aware, but this stuff that you're mentioning, for instance, tannin, it's something that the plants produce to protect themselves. So for instance, right? I'm familiar with this. I'm from Jamaica, so we have a lot of herbs and food. Like cashew, we already know cashew, this have oxalate. So,
Mm-hmm.
cashew is one of the most expensive seed because it's really not a nut. It's a seed because it's a fruit. It's the seed of a fruit. So we eat the fruit, but we know that the nut, the seed, it's very toxic, especially, and you have the oxalate. So blanching, roasting, or boiling is how you remove those toxins. But the plants produce the toxin for protection, for over consumption, from herds or whatever it is. So tanning is one of them, oxalate is one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the protected. So how do we get rid of them? Most of the, like you were saying, bitter and tart. So, like, we have a plant that we eat, a staple in Jamaica. We eat it a lot. It's like it's a bitter bean, but it's very good. But it's kind of, if you're not familiar with it, you can get poison from it. But it's a staple for us because over time, the people who have turned it, discovered it, know how to handle it to remove the toxin and make it into a dish. You wouldn't be familiar with it, but even if I tell you, but it's called we call it susumba. It's a small, tiny bean that look almost like a bigger than a green bean, but it's a staple for us. So it's very poisonous if you don't know what you're doing, if you don't know it. The toxic that it oozes.
Right.
So yeah, so which is a protective thing. The plant is very spiky, and the bitter bean produces that bitterness, similar
Yeah. So
to
I think that's
yeah,
the point,
hmm
right?
yeah,
Is that most people don't know that plants don't want to be eaten and they produce poisons to
yeah,
protect themselves. And so we gotta be more mindful that just eating plants out of no fucking where it don't be healthy all the fucking time. Right? And that's kind of what this discussion is about. Is fruits, vegetables aren't just healthy just because. Like most of the time they have to be made to be in the form where you can eat them and get the health benefits from them. So like the oxalates we were just talking with the boiling, blanching, and steaming, you can also ferment it, right? So if you want to reduce the oxalates, I think fermentation reduces it 69%, right? So like, and I think it was a sesame seeds for 12 days. Then you got to soak them shits for 12 days. So one study showed a 69% reduction of oxalate levels in sesame seeds after fermentation for 12 days. Soaking beans, nuts, and seeds can reduce oxalate content, especially
Butter.
when combined with cooking or roasting. Sprouting can reduce oxalate levels in certain foods. Pairing them with calcium. So consuming calcium-rich foods like dairy, yogurt, cheese, or fish with small bones alongside oxalate-rich foods can bind to oxalates and reduce their absorption. So to me, um, this is why they would pair foods with each other. When I'm looking at some of this, well, you know what? In order to reduce this anti-nutrient, if you eat it with this, then it makes it to where it doesn't bind. It's like, oh, maybe this is how they came up with some of the food pairings.
Facts, raspberries and yogurt. Because I was literally gonna ask you to go over raspberries. Because I'll fuck some raspberries up, but it doesn't make. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So now that I'm looking at this, I think that's where it came from. A lot of the pairings and shit that we get comes from this shit. Um, It says oxalates are naturally present in many plant-based foods, which are often rich in other beneficial nutrients. Focusing on moderation rather than complete elimination of oxalate-rich foods may be more sustainable approach. All right. Um, let's see. What number was that? That was number 4. All right. Number 5, you just got here. These are the lectins. Number 5 is lectins. So we're talking about anti-nutrients that are in foods. Right? Everybody knows that vegetables have nutrients, but not everybody knows that all these vegetables have anti-nutrients, things that prevent you from getting the nutrients out of it. That's important. All right. So number 5 is lectins. Lectins are found in high quantities of beans, wheat, which is mentioned earlier, reduce nutrient absorption, bloating and gas. One of the most nutritionally important features of a plant lectin is their ability to survive digestion by the GI tract, which means they can penetrate cell linings. They can penetrate cells lining the digestive tract and cause a loss of gut epithelial cells, damage the membranes of the epithelium lining, interfere with nutrient digestion and absorption, stimulate shifts in the bacterial flora, and trigger autoimmune reactions. Lectins can cause GI.
Fuck.
I know. Lectins can cause GI upset similar to classical food poisoning and immune responses like joint pains and rashes. Improperly prepared raw grains, dairy legumes like peanuts and soybeans have especially high lectin levels. All right. Here, let's look at some foods with high lectins. Foods high in lectins.
Tomatoes, the skins.
Hey, that
hmm
sounded just like the end of them fuck them pharmacy commercials. What you all that shit you just explained sounded just like that shit. May cause God damn.
All right. Um, let's see. Um, Beans, lentils, and peanuts. Yeah. Nightshades, like what she just said, potatoes, tomatoes, eggplants. All right. Anything in the nightshade family. Wheat, rice, and barley. Some fruits like certain melons can also have lectins, right? Um, and so I think, dude, I think chicken got lectins in it too. I think chicken got lectins. I think like the skin or something may have lectins.
I was about to say, is it because of what the chicken eats that it has lectins, or is it naturally just have lectins?
Um, let me see. 'Cause I was looking at something. I think that's why I can't eat chicken. So y'all know my blood type says I can't eat chicken, right? Um, I think it's because of the lectins, bro. Yeah, I think it's because of the lectins.
This is the longest fucking episode. I just want to put that out there. Shit's long as hell.
Hey yo, is it long as hell? Let's see. And how do you neutralize lectins in the food? Cooking, soaking, sprouting, and fermentation. Like it's a lot of the same stuff, right? So you got to boiling it, soaking it, sprouting it, fermenting. Um, right, high heat, long time. They reduce the lectins. Boiling the beans, right, can reduce it to an undetectable level. Remember, you got to pour off the water and shit, right? Fermenting foods like soy products can lower the lectin count. Removing the outer hull of beans and wheat grains can reduce lectin content. Who the fuck is eating skint beans?
That's what you soak them bitches for, bro.
Oh, is that what be left when I be soaking
Those
the
little
beans? Oh,
stems
that's the
and
skin.
those stems,
Gotcha.
yeah, it's the bean casing.
Mm.
The casings.
Mm. All right, cool.
I just want to put this
Let's
out
see.
there too that you ain't really no real friend because you could have like been like, hey, you know what? This might be a hard, you know, night for you. Like, I give me preparation. Like, you ain't no real fucking friend. That's crazy.
Hey, I'm telling
Parental advisory or something.
Exactly.
Goddamn.
Exactly. Parental advisory, like whatever, how they be doing all of them signs when they be like, oh, you know, we're about to say something crazy. You could have put me on notice. That's all. You could have put me on notice and gave
So
me
the
see
title ain't give
that's
you
the
a.
illusion that we be talking about. You don't say nothing. You just come in here like everything's normal, playing your little stupid ass song, and then you all happy and frolicking around this joint while you over here breaking down people's whole lives and their livelihoods, and taking everything away from people,
Jamila,
taking
I'm at the
everything.
garbage can right now.
That's what I'm saying. you know and don't even give nobody what you better have a good moment of positivity at the end of this because I'm watching you at this point. I'm watching you.
Hey,
Hey yo,
all you gotta do is cook your vegetables.
for the most part, yeah, cook your vegetables. I mean,
And
most of the stuff
soak them.
most of the stuff we talking about, it can be neutralized by cooking, fermenting, or stewing or some
And
shit.
then they said if
Yeah,
you cook them,
put more emphasis on that.
and then they said if you
Okay.
cook them too long, you killing out everything you trying to get in them. So you got to steam them at a certain
Let's
degree.
And Recon,
let's
ain't nobody asking you nothing, okay? Keep your ass in the chat or off. You matter of fact, I'm finna delete that comment because I don't have time for it today, Recon.
what do you
Now,
say?
come on, she said she getting cooked.
David, when you steam your shit, put a plate under it, and it'll help you out a lot more. Like lift whatever you're steaming off the bottom of the shit.
Up here just hurt. The nutrients that I thought I had put in
See?
my body is depleting from this conversation. That's what use the anti-nutrient right now.
Man, you know what, dude? I'm trying to help. You know what I'm saying? So number 6, anti-nutrient is saponins. Similar to lectins, saponins affect the GI lining, contributing to leaky gut syndrome and autoimmune disorders. They're particularly resistant to digestion by humans and have the ability to enter the bloodstream and trigger immune responses. All right, let's look at some foods with saponins in them. Okay, some of the foods that have saponins: beans, kidney navy beans, etc. Lentils, peas, soybeans, all are rich in saponins. Oats and quinoa have a lot of saponins. Um, Certain vegetables and roots, spinach, garlic, yams. All right, they have lots of saponins. Soybeans, like tofu, tempeh, soy milk, a lot of saponins.
So
Okay.
everything you just named is like generally like soaked or boiled. Is that gonna have you? Is that one of the thingies?
Yep. So to neutralize saponins, boiling, soaking, and sprouting.
Yeah, I'm with you on the parent things. Not because of the raspberries, but just because of I feel like this just proved that. Uh,
Hmm.
Maybe like not even on some scientifically proven shit, but on the fact that for generations, right? Like, just we can just take the fucking sweet potatoes, bro. We can go back. Everybody in here can probably go back 2, 3 generations of their family boiling them bitches, right? And that had to have started somewhere. You know what I'm saying? Whether it was by them studying these foods way back when and being like, oh, it makes you feel like this. If I do this to it, it doesn't make me, you know what I'm saying? Or whatever.
Hmm.
Yeah, for sure.
100%, bro. Let's see. Number 7. Um, it's a trypsin inhibitor. Okay. Trypsin and chymotrypsin inhibitors are found in most grain containing products, including cereals, porridge, breads, and even baby foods. They seem to be degraded well by heat processing and cooking, but still cause problems like mineral deficiencies for young infants, children, and anyone with reduced pancreatic function. Okay. So if you have reduced pancreatic function, then this can be a problem. Um, and so they're in foods like let's see, raw legumes, grains, and cereals. So chickpeas, lentils, um, wheat, barley, rye, maize, millet, and rice. Um, Potatoes and cucurbits. What the fuck is a cucurbit? Some new shit. They always got some
Sounds
new
like
shit.
a measurement.
I know, right? I swear for goodness it sound like a measurement. Uh-huh. Okay. And the way you neutralize it, I think, is with the same thing. Let me see. To neutralize trypsin inhibitors in food, the most common and effective method is heat treatment. Boiling or roasting can inactivate these inhibitors. Soaking or sprouting can also reduce their activity, but may not eliminate them.
Gourds or cucurbits?
Huh?
Gourds or cucurbits?
Do you? Oh, like squash and zucchinis and shit.
Hmm. Okay. Um.
All
I guess
because rice was in that group. Do you know another way to cook rice outside of boiling that shit, bro?
I do not.
Steam rice.
Ah, good point. Good point. Was one of the
Yeah.
things
You
that removed them?
don't you like when you aren't you supposed to wash your rice and then like until it goes clear to get rid of a lot of whatever is supposed to be on the rice, but then I thought you were also supposed to avoid rice in general because it was not good for your gut, and that's why people were moving over to quinoa and the what is it, this the other oh, I forget what the other
What,
protein
couscous and bullshit like that?
couscous, yeah, like those types of things where people are moving and transitioning over into that. But again, you still have to rinse it apparently.
I mean, brown rice is still the same. I mean, wild rice. Wild rice is still the same way. Like you still have to, or you're supposed to, rinse it off a little bit. You know what I'm saying? And then boil that bitch. But yeah. And the quinoa. And the couscous, like you still have to boil those to the same extent. You know what I'm saying? Like I
Hmm.
think I think what he said, Jimmy, was a heat treatment. So yeah.
All right. So number 8, we almost at the end of the list, guys. And Jamil, you can uncover your ears. So isoflavones, isoflavones. Um, these are a type of polyphenolic anti-nutrient found in highest levels in soybeans that might cause hormonal change and contribute to digestive issues. In smaller doses, when beans have been properly prepared, this can also be beneficial, but it's usually recommended to avoid soybeans because flavonoids are capable of
Just
exerting
flavones. It's
flavones.
yeah,
All right, because
because it's
isoflavones.
it's. I think it's isoflavonoids,
Yeah, I
but
think so too.
the isoflavones or flavones would be the singular, I guess.
Got
Isoflavone.
okay. It's usually recommended to avoid soybeans because isoflavones are capable of exerting estrogen-like effects. For this reason, they're classified as phytoestrogens and considered in endocrine disruptors, plant-derived compounds with estrogenic activity that might result in harmful changes in hormone levels. So that's that soy right there. What's the term? Soy boys. When you're eating all that soy, you get all that estrogen in you, growing titties and shit, acting all bitch made. hmm So yeah, um, to reduce isoflavones in food, especially soy products, methods like soaking, pre-cooking, and ultrafiltration can be employed. The hell is an ultrafiltration? Um, soaking. Ultrafiltration is a more advanced method that can be used to remove a large portion of isoflavones from soy, like soy juice. Yeah, don't tell me what the fuck it is. Okay. All right. Well, there you go. Yeah, that's for the soy boys, man. The isoflavones. If I was y'all, all guys, I would just stay away from soy. Period. That's for chicks, man. It's increasing y'all goddamn soy, y'all estrogen levels. All right, goddamn soy boys. Let's see. We're on. I think this is number 9. Hold on. Number 9 is solanine or solanine. Found in nightshade vegetables like eggplant, peppers, and tomatoes, this is actually a beneficial anti-nutrient in most cases. But in high levels and in those sensitive to eating nightshades, it can cause poisoning and symptoms like nausea, diarrhea, vomiting, stomach cramps, burning of the throat, headache, and dizziness. Who knew? Let's see. So, solanine. Let's see. Green potatoes, especially those with green eyes, have elevated levels of solanine. They should be avoided or peeled before consumption. So before the potato turns brown. All right. Unripe tomatoes also contain high levels of solanine, and potato sprouts are another source high in solanine and should be avoided.
I was literally about to say that, like potatoes in general, when they start sprouting, like people be trying to cut that shit out, like throw them shits away or put them in the garden and plant, make more potatoes. Like, don't eat that shit.
Got you. And also, the stems and leaves of the tomato plant contain solanine. All right. Um, let's see. Peel the potato, like Jamila just said. Remove sprouts and green flesh, and consider cooking methods like deep frying at high temperatures. Hmm, maybe that's how fries came about. Niggas was like, yo, how we gonna make these potatoes edible? Like when you eat them like this, they get fucked up. Deep frying them makes them edible again. Who knew? All right, is that where frying came from? To make this shit edible? Huh. Okay. Huh. All right. Let's see. And the last one, the last anti-nutrient we're gonna talk about is chickenine. Chickenine. So we just talked about solanine. So this is chickenine. Um. All right, let's see. All right. And so chickenine found in corn and plants of the Solanaceae family, including potatoes. This compound is beneficial when eating in small doses because it has antifungal properties. But in some people, it's capable of causing digestive issues, especially when uncooked and eaten in high amounts. All right, let's look at some foods that have chickenine up in it. Let's see, potatoes, we said. Tomatoes can contain glycocolloids. hmm Eggplants um, have less than potatoes. Peppers, some pepper varieties have trace amounts of glycocolloids, but are not considered to be a major source. All right, and the way you get rid of it, um, hmm, wait, what's this? Yeah. The way to get rid of it: peeling, cooking, frying, yeah, baking, yeah. Same thing. Yeah, same thing. Um, chicken and cooking, yeah, high temperatures. Okay, yeah, same thing. So peeling, cooking, um, at high temperatures. So yeah, I'm almost certain this is where. Oh, soaking in vinegar as well. Um, I'm almost certain this is where the process of frying came from. All right. All right. And so that's your list, guys. That's your list of anti-nutrients, foods that they're found in, and ways to neutralize them. All right. We've had a lot of discussion. The biggest thing I want you guys to take from it is that just because it's a vegetable doesn't mean it's just safe to eat automatically. You have to know how to eat these things. And I think the common pattern here has been cooking. Like most of it just seems like, yo, if you cook your vegetables, you're fine. Like if you're going to eat a vegetable, you got to cook it. Um, I know in like tomatoes, the lectins are in the seeds and in the skin, right? So it's stuff like that.
Today was that eating vegetables was like going to the gym. You know how one day you got leg day, you got chest day, you might got cardio. Like that's literally how I felt listening to this episode. Like, okay, so we're just gonna isolate things, and today's just gonna be, you know, potato day. Like, that's it.
Hey yo, you know what? You guys powered through it. I'm proud of y'all. I'm proud of everybody that stayed and powered through it, man. Sometimes it can be hard to listen to it, right? Because you're like, yo, this is all the shit I fucking eat. Like, what are we doing?
Everything.
So what am I supposed to do now?
Right,
You know
Dave?
what, Dave? You kind of fat, bro. So something
I
says you
know
can
it.
stand to miss a couple meals.
I was starting my fruit fast tomorrow, but shit, I don't even know if that's gonna be cool. I got all these motherfucking
Now don't
apples
try to
over
make them
here,
damn
and
excuses, Dave.
I ain't got
Now
no excuses. I mean,
don't be trying to make no
it's a
excuses for not
challenge.
trying to do better for your life because Linnell up here dropping these random ass lists. Don't be. That sound like my 600 pound life. Well,
Nah. Hell no.
since
I'ma still fuck with it, but I need
since
to
he
learn how to
said that it wasn't
preparate.
really good for you, I'm not gonna do it. I'm gonna start
Nah,
tomorrow. No, you do it.
I
Continue.
just
We'll
want to
figure
learn
it
how
out
to
along the way,
preparation.
Dave.
That's why I said I need an SOP on how to knock all them bad shit out of my fruits. Cause I've been using vinegar and baking soda.
Oh, word.
Yeah, that's the only way I
Hey,
fuck with it. But is
good
that
job.
enough? Is that enough?
Gonna be all right for now, bro. All right. We went through a lot here today. Yo, anybody got any questions? Anybody wanna goddamn? Cause
So
I've been talking for a while, huh?
my question would be basically how someone would kind of like how you do like the pros and cons like or the what are they called when you're taking like certain vitamins with oh what is that. Damn it, why am I? You didn't threw my whole brain for a loop. What is it when it's the good things and the bad things? Like it's like the pros and cons, but it's called something else. When you're taking
Or
certain
cost benefit analysis or something.
when you're taking certain medications and it's like the contraindications, that's what it is. The contraindications when taking certain things, like building a list
Yeah.
of that for people, right? What that looks like, just like I was saying, as far as like a meal plan, right? What that would look like for certain people. Hey, when you're eating this, you want to avoid eating this at the same time, especially if you're not treating your vegetable in this way, or you want to make sure that you are, you know, soaking. If you're not, then if you're eating this, you want to make sure you're fermenting it or such and such and such and such. Like, because what if you're not? What if you don't have time to do all that stuff? You know what I mean? Is it just as simple as, okay, well, you know what? You can eat these foods, but at the same time, stay away from XYZ, this, that, and the third while you're doing it. Is that possible?
So what you just talked about is it requires somebody to plan out their shit because
Mm-hmm.
you have to determine one, where are you at on the spectrum. Like me, like I'm a like again, y'all know I eat for my blood type, so I have to look at what am I eating. I eat a lot of red meat. I eat a lot of fruit. I definitely keep dairy and like I keep dairy in the rotation, right? And so I'll have to look at, all right, well, what are the concerns with each of these things? I don't eat a lot of vegetables, right? I don't eat a lot of vegetables. When y'all
And
like
your attitude shows. Your attitude shows it. But go ahead.
um dude, when y'all see me eating vegetables, it's me putting like I'm making chili, which I'm boiling everything any fucking way. You know what I'm saying? Like all that shit getting boiled any fucking way. So like I don't really like my diet because it's not vegetable heavy. Like I don't really worry about a lot of the stuff we was talking about. So the lectins, yeah, because the lectins it kind of goes with the blood type thing. That's why I don't eat tomatoes and all that shit. I just kind of avoid that shit. You know what I mean? But if it's like if you're like let's say a blood type A, and you guys are primarily eating vegetables, now you got to look and see. All right, well, shit, which one of these am I eating? And does it need to be paired with something else?
Yeah, we allergic to meat. Uh,
No, I'm talking about the vegetables.
oh,
So,
I'm a
which vegetable are
I'm a
you
A.
eating?
I'm allergic to meat.
Right. Right, but again, if you're going to eat vegetables, then you have to look and see. All right, well, shit, which vegetable am I eating? What are the anti-nutrients in it? And do I need to pair it with something to neutralize the anti-nutrient? How do I need to eat it? You know what I mean? Do I need to boil it? Do I need to ferment it? Right? You got to look at what are you eating and how it has to be consumed. I mean, I was thinking about making some beans the other day. I forget why I was making some beans, but I wanted to make some beans. I was like, yo, I feel like having some beans, right? So I know, all right, you got to soak these shits. And then what am I putting in these beans? So it requires you to make a personal, individual plan for how you're going to eat. right? To look at what you're going to eat and how it's best consumed. And most of the time, that shit got to be cooked. Most of that shit got to be cooked. So that's all. You get me? All right. See, everybody is nice and pumped. Glad I can keep you guys informed. You know what I mean, I know y'all learned something here today. Um, Now I want y'all to don't take what I said about me not eating vegetables. Look at the title and be like, "Oh, he's coming for us." No, 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 no. I just want everybody to be informed about what they're eating. Right? I want everybody to understand that just because it's a vegetable don't mean it's healthy. And just because it's red meat don't mean it's bad. Right? The history, I think the going through the history of like how we ended up where we are with the demonizing animal fats and the promoting of vegetables and seed oils and shit, like that needs to be understood when you're kind of looking at your food, right? So I say all that to say I appreciate y'all hanging out. So remember, if you just want the cook, so like this one is going up on Conspiracy University, right? So if you want to send this to somebody you know, it'll be up on Conspiracy University probably tomorrow, right? Um, so if the we got two podcasts, one where all of them go up, it's Conspiracy Cookout with the Sinful Family, and then the one with just the cooks, it goes up on Conspiracy University. So check out Conspiracy University on every place the pods are cast, right? So that I look, there's something called the Conspiracy University, but they only got like one episode or some shit. I don't know, but Conspiracy University, you'll see us up there. You'll see the logo. It's lit. Friday we coming back. We're gonna do. So I'm gonna try to get through more than Diddy on Friday. So we're gonna definitely recap um, what happened in the trial this week. But then I got some other stuff that I want to talk about because it's a lot of stuff that's going on. All right, so be sure y'all come on Friday, man. Like I said, send this to somebody that you like somebody that you think needs to hear this information because it's some good stuff. All right. Remember blackisuniform.com and vigorforpain.com.
Mm-mm.
Oh yeah, the moment of positivity. My bad.
Mm-mm.
I
You
got
ain't
it.
about to do me like this.
I got it. You know what, Jamila? This is what I'm talking about. This is the moment of positivity. MOP.
Okay, y'all ready for a lecture? Talk about the importance of nothing. You get up every day, you're entitled to nothing. Nobody owes you nothing. You could have talent, but if you don't have discipline and you don't execute, you don't focus, what do you get? Nothing. If you're complacent and not paying attention to detail, what does that get you? Nothing. So, nothing is acceptable but your best. Everything is determined by what you do and you trying to be your best so that you can build on positive performance. That's the only thing. There should be nothing else.
Boom. Wise words from Nick Saban, man. All right. It's all about what you put into it. All right. I'll see y'all Friday, man. blacksuniform.com.
Coming to the cookout, but you need the right gear. Blackisuniform.com, you can get it right here. We talk flat earth and mud floods. You might hear about the dome. No matter the topic, you just need something with the shield on. Blackisuniform.com, where conspiracy analysts are at home. Blackisuniform.com, where conspiracy analysts are at home.
Vigor Sport is love and light in a bottle, a CBD infused salve that rids the body of pain, arthritis, carpal tunnel, and muscle aches. There's no job too great for Vigor Sport. Headaches, muscle spasms, and menstrual cramps are a thing of the past. Vigor Sport is the Swiss Army knife of your medicine cabinet. Order your jar today at vigorforpain.com.